1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the Play Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City. Sitting on top of the 10th floor at 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to a Tuesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all of our great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates. Sirius XM, channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and streaming live on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. You can always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. Make sure you connect with me there, at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB. And I got to give a lot of praise today to our guy, our favorite producer, the immortal Michael Samter, for really taking it on his own power the last few months to really create us a TikTok account at the Zach Gelb Show. Make sure you follow it there. I just realized last night, as I went to see if our contact information was up to date on the TikTok, and the good old ticky-ticky-tock, and I realized that Samter and I have the same two last digits of our phone number, because I went to go see if my cell phone was in there, and I couldn't realize I couldn't get the verification code, and it only lists the last two digits of my cell phone number, and it's the same as Samter's cell phone number. So late last night, as I was up watching that Seahawks-Texans game, which was a snooze fest, I had the Seahawks laying 3.5 points. So even though I was winning, it was still difficult for me to stay up during that game. But Samter got a lot of late night texts from some random number because I was just trying to verify what my TikTok phone number was, and it was going to Samter because I just realized that we shared the last two digits. Isn't that right, Mike?
Hopefully you weren't in Pakistan, because I got 2 emails from people trying to access various accounts of mine from other parts of the world. So if that was not you, then I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I could tell you this. Zach Gelb was not in Pakistan last night. I would stick out like a sore thumb there.
Well, then somebody else has access to my bank account.
So the Seattle Seahawks, they take care of business up against the Houston Texans last night by a score of 27-19. We will get into that game in just a second last night, but I will get into the first game first, and that's the Detroit Lions up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Lions are the best team in the NFC. I felt that way with the Detroit Lions after their performance up against the Baltimore Ravens. And I understand that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been decimated with injuries, absolutely decimated with injuries. With that being said, though, what you saw last night was a formula by the Detroit Lions that shows you how they can potentially get out of the NFC this year and represent the NFC in the Super Bowl with the Lions getting there. Jahmyr Gibbs needs to be the bread and butter. Jahmyr Gibbs needs to be the filet mignon. Jahmyr Gibbs needs to be what that offense is based on. He needs to be the identity of that offense. And when he is rocking and rolling, he has the potential to be one of, if not the best backs in the NFL. You saw it last night. 17 carries, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, the 78-yard long run, and then, oh yeah, by the way, 3 receptions for 82 yards out of the backfield, catching the football too. Jahmyr Gibbs is the most important offensive player for the Detroit Lions, and he needs to put up the most prodigious stats for them to get to the Super Bowl. And what you saw from Jared Goff last night is efficient enough for them to find a way to get to the Super Bowl with that type of performance. It doesn't have to be the most gaudy stats. It doesn't have to be the most pretty stats. It just has to be serviceable. It just has to be manageable. And people aren't going to like this when I say this. Jared Goff just has to be a game manager for the Detroit Lions to get to the Super Bowl. If you have to have Jared Goff going north of 30 passes, if you have to have Jared Goff going for 40-something passes and trying to win these shootouts, throwing 4 touchdowns, that's not going to be conducive for winning multiple games in the postseason. I will acknowledge, is Jared Goff good enough where he could win one game in the postseason where he throws the ball 40 times and he has 4 or 5 passing touchdowns? Absolutely. But you could see more performances like you saw last night where it's 20 of 29, 241 yards, a touchdown. Will there be a mistake? You know, could he potentially fumble the ball one time and have an interception? Absolutely. But those turnovers can't be the detrimental turnovers that end up imploding the Lions season. If you just give me that version of Jared Goff last night, where Jahmyr Gibbs is going off, Jared Goff is just managing the game, even if there's some down moments, that's an offense when you add in Amon-Ra St. Brown, when you add in David Montgomery, when you add in Sam Laporta and Jamison Williams, even though he didn't really do much last night. That's an offense that has the pieces to lead a team to the Super Bowl. But I think most importantly, and I know we are basically knocking a man when he's down, but the hits just keep on coming for Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn, the former defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, now the 0-7 head coach of Samter's Jets. Aaron Glenn is not missed in Detroit. And quite frankly, Jets fans are probably hoping they could ship Aaron Glenn right back to the Detroit Lions. But this defensive coordinator, Kelvin Shepard, he has a presence. And the Lions defense, now they're healthier, so it helps. They have Aiden Hutchinson back. I know that they were the walking wounded last year, and they'd be plucking guys off the street and then inserting them into the lineup. But we have now seen on the national stage multiple times where an offense that has so many pieces, right? When you look at the Lions, and there's so much star power on the Lions offense, we've seen the defense be the bigger story. And I get it. Mike Evans leaves the game that last night with the injury, the collarbone injury, could be out for a large chunk here. Expect to come back at some point this year. And we know that Emeka Ibuka wasn't 100%, no Bucky Irving. Hey, there was a lot of pieces missing from the Tampa Bay offense. But with that being said, that was a Lions defense last night that gave you a championship performance. And here's the thing with the Lions. It doesn't got to be pretty. It doesn't got to be sexy. But these 3 things must happen. Must happen. And it's a way that you could lay out a path for this team to get to the Super Bowl. Number 1, Jahmyr Gibbs got to be their best offensive player. Number 2, even if it isn't always pretty, Jared Goff just has to be kept to under 30 passing attempts a game, and he has to manage the game, and his turnovers can't be detrimental. And then number 3, you need to have a good defense. Not a great defense, not an all-time great defense, not one of the best defenses in the league, but just a good, tough-nosed defense, which the Lions are capable of when Aiden Hutchinson is on the field and their defensive coordinator, Kelvin Shepard, is on the sideline. And you take a glance and you take a look at the Lions and you look at guys like Rakia Sin, who is playing well for them. They find a way to plug and play even when they're dealing with an abundance of injuries or they're dealing with guys that aren't fully healthy. So that's a Lions team, and what you saw last night in an NFC where, let's be real, it's loaded, but it's open. Philadelphia, I know they won, and I know that Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating, and now Brandon Graham's coming back, and Devontae Smith had a good game, and A.J. Brown got in the end zone 2 times. Philadelphia still barely beat the Minnesota Vikings. Like, the Cowboys aren't going to a Super Bowl this year. The Commanders aren't going to a Super Bowl this year. The Packers are 4-1-1. I get it, Micah Parsons just had a 3-sack game, but do you really trust Jordan Love in a big spot yet? I don't. Now, I get it, the Bears are 4-2, and they won 4 in a row. That's not a Super Bowl team. The Vikings, you have no clue who's going to play quarterback from week to week. Carolina is improved. Carolina's on a 3-game win streak, but let's even see if they make the playoffs. The Falcons, one week, they're sitting there at the beginning of the week, oh, we've arrived. And then what happened? Right? You lose a game to a decimated 49ers team on Sunday Night Football. The 49ers are a heck of a team, but can their injuries withstand, and they'll be in the postseason. They could win the NFC West. We'll see what happens. But can they be in a spot where they'll have enough pieces at the end of the year to withstand all the injuries that they've already suffered? I like what I saw from Seattle last night. Seattle's good, but do I trust Sam Darnold to go win 3 games in the postseason? No. And the Rams, they've had some moments this year where you want to jump off the ship, but the Rams are still at 5-2. How about that NFC West, by the way? 5-2, 5-2, 5-2. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals. Sorry, Santa, another one of those teams that you root for that stink. They're sitting there at 2-5. So I look at this NFC, and I say to the Lions, it doesn't have to be explosive. It doesn't have to be incredible. You just have to do 3 things. Jahmyr Gibbs has to be your best offensive player. That's your identity on offense. Jared Goff will have a turnover or 2, but he just needs to manage the game. Under 30 passing attempts. The stats don't have to be all pretty, and you need to just keep on getting good defensive efforts that you've been getting with Kelvin Shepard. So that's how I look at it last night. The Lions, right now, if you put a gun to my head, and I wouldn't feel safe about it because A, there'd be a gun to my head, but B, there's a lot of good teams in the NFC. The Lions are my pick to get to the Super Bowl. You know, I have a future ticket in college football. I placed week 1 on Alabama to win the national championship at plus 900. I don't know what the odds are. I'm sure they're not great. My guess would be probably plus 400 right now, maybe plus 350 for the Lions to get to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I'm going to maybe fire up my DraftKings app during the break because maybe we could continue to make some money. We may need the money. But you look at it, I would maybe place a few shekels on the Detroit Lions on the Gelb, Samter, and Stu Fund, which we are going to start collecting. Now, anyway, let's get to the other game, and that's the Seahawks and the Texans. What an absolute disgrace that game started at 10 p.m. Eastern time. That game's still going on at 1 in the morning, and I get it, right? If you're on the West Coast, at 7 p.m., it's great, phenomenal, spectacular when that game does start. But you have national games starting at 10 p.m. Eastern time. If it wasn't for my job, I would have absolutely just said, yeah, I'm going to bypass this game. I'm just going to see what the box score is in the morning. And quite frankly, at halftime, and I know it was only 14-6, you still have a game, you knew that the Texans were cooked. And there were moments where Sam Darnold was trying to get the Texans back into the game. But C.J. Stroud, you want to talk about a player that's regressing? It's C.J. Stroud. Year 1, he was dynamite. Last year, the results weren't that impressive on the field. But, right, you blame the offensive coordinator. You blame the offensive line. C.J. Stroud still made the postseason last year, still won a playoff game, and then lost in the second round. Now, don't get me wrong. This offensive line isn't special. Don't get me wrong. This Seahawks defense is good. Don't get me wrong. The offensive coordinator is not phenomenal with the Houston Texans. But when is C.J. Stroud going to really say, I'm going to go win a game? And in these big spots, and that's why I love the Seahawks laying 3.5 points, in these big spots, you just see it over and over again, he's not good enough. And they can't run the ball right now. And when you make C.J. Stroud throw it almost 50 times a game, it was 49 times last night, you're not going to win. Like, think about it. He threw the ball 49 times last night. He only had 229 passing yards. That's terrible. That's horrific. And it's not even like the Seahawks played this great offensive game. You know, I keep on putting Zach Charbonnet in at the goal line. I'm betting the wrong running back. I had Kenneth Walker anytime touchdown last night. I got to bet Charbonnet. This is twice this year I've been burned by Kenneth Walker. And they just don't put him in at the goal line or he gets stuffed. But they have two solid backs. Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's a stud. I don't like Ohio State, but I always love an Ohio State wide receiver. Whether it's Olave, whether it's Garrett Wilson, whether it's Jackson Smith-Njigba. I know he hasn't really hit in the NFL, but Marvin Harrison Jr. I think still could be good. These Ohio State wide receivers are incredible. And heck, you got Jeremiah Smith in college who still needs another year in college before he could be eligible for the draft. And this other guy, Carnell Tate, he's a stud. I want him on the Patriots. I think the Patriots are too good to be able to get him in the draft. But I love Jackson Smith-Njigba in the pre-draft process. I know the injuries were the concern, but I remember interviewing him the day before he got drafted. I said, you're my favorite wide receiver in that draft class. And he's become one of the better wide receivers, not in the NFC, not just in the NFC West, but in all of football. 8 receptions, $123 last night, and a touchdown. And you look at him on the season, he leads the NFL in receiving yards at 819, and he's tied for 5th in receptions with 50. So that dude's a stud. And Sam Darnold's fine. You know, we talked about this with Stu the other day, that if Stu's beautiful girlfriend came up to him and was like, hey, how do you like this dress that I'm wearing? The worst answer you could give is fine. You'd rather say bad than fine. Because fine is like, I don't really love it, but it looks okay, but it doesn't look great. That's what Sam Darnold is. Sam Darnold is a fine quarterback. Like, you could do a lot worse than Sam Darnold. You could also do a lot better. But Sam Darnold plays solid football. Sam Darnold was good last year, really good last year with the Minnesota Vikings. But then down the stretch, against the Lions, terrible. Against the Rams, terrible. And in Seattle right now, right, there's no more DK Metcalf. There's no more Tyler Lockett. You do have Jackson Smith-Njigba. But we all thought that Sam Darnold was going to fall off a lot. And he's not putting up the greatest statistical night last night, 17-31, 213 passing yards, a touchdown, and an interception. But he did enough to secure the victory. And you look at Sam Darnold, can he make the playoffs with the Seahawks? Absolutely. Because that defense is the story. And then on offense, just chuck it up to Jackson Smith-Njigba, and you got a chance to complete it with how good that guy is, or excuse me, how great that guy is, JSN, at the wide receiving position. But that's what Sam Darnold is. He's fine. He can consistently be a guy that gets you into the wild card round of the postseason, and once he gets into those big games, I don't really expect much out of him. It feels as if his ceiling is he could go out there and he could win one playoff game. But you could be in a whole lot worse spots. You could be like Geno Smith right now with the Raiders. You could be like Justin Fields with the Jets. That was just mean how I threw Stu and Santer's teams in there right now. You know, like, hey, Sam Darnold's not going to be a Drake May, I'll tell you that. Sam Darnold's not going to be a Josh Allen. Sam Darnold's not going to be a Patrick Mahomes. But you could do a whole lot worse. Like right now, I'll tell you this. In the next 3 years, I will buy into Sam Darnold with the Seahawks more than I would buy into a player like C.J. Stroud with the Houston Texans. And I would have never thought I would have said that before the start of the season, but I don't like the direction that C.J. Stroud is trending in the last 2 years. You know, last year and then you factor in this year compared to what I'm seeing right now with Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. Zach Gelb here with you on the Infinity Sports Network. 17 past the hour. We will take a timeout when we come on back. A lot of rumors going around with Jed Fish at Washington, Shane Beamer at Virginia Tech. It could be at Virginia Tech, South Carolina, and then Mike Elko at Texas A&M. All right, people are linking Elko to Penn State. People are linking Beamer to Virginia Tech. People are linking Jed Fish potentially to Florida. It's always interesting when coaches' names get floated out there, how they handle these rumors. Well, we'll hear from all three of those guys when we return in 5 minutes right here on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, it is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Let's take a listen. We'll go around the college football world. There's a lot of rumors in terms of some current coaches taking jobs elsewhere. There's been some talk about Mike Elko maybe going to Penn State. I will say, though, if I'm Mike Elko, I understand he's a Northeast guy. Am I leaving what you have right now and the investments that you have and what's working right now in Aggie land to go to Penn State? Personally, I am not. Jed Fish, I don't know if he's going to get offered the Florida job, but he is an alum of Florida. The coach of Washington in the year of 2025 or Florida, I think you take the challenge of going to Florida if the job is offered to you. And then Shane Beamer is the interesting one. If you would have told me before the start of the season where expectations were high for Shane Beamer in the SEC at South Carolina, would Shane Beamer leave South Carolina to go back to Virginia Tech, which is not only his school, but more importantly, his father's school, right, with the legendary coaching job that his dad did for all those years? Would I advise Shane Beamer of going to Virginia Tech in the year of what would be 2026? No. But now you're having an underwhelming season at South Carolina. You're going to enter next year on the hot seat. Maybe it is time to reset. I don't think that would be by choice in terms of, my desire is to go be the head football coach at Virginia Tech. But if you kind of read the writing on the wall and you see that it's getting ugly for you, and I'm not saying it's there yet, but you could start have maybe the scripture being placed on the wall. I'm not saying it's inked out there yet. But if you start to get a sense that that's going to happen, maybe you do leave. So let's start with Shane Beamer. There was a report out there from Brad Crawford of CBS Sports and 24/7 Sports on people at Virginia Tech really interested in Shane Beamer. Let's hear how Shane Beamer did respond to the report that he's considering the Virginia Tech job.
I think I've said enough about that. One, I haven't talked to Brad Crawford in like 2 years, and not discrediting Brad's sources, but I have no idea where that story came from. I have conveyed to publicly many times how much I want to be here, and I respect the question. I understand you asking, and I'm not mad. I've conveyed many times how much I want to be here. This is my dream job. I said that when I came here. Nothing has changed. I am pissed off, Phil, at the way we are performing right now. Right now, we're not getting it done. And my focus right now is on getting it fixed. And that's the same thing I told our football team today. We're in a storm right now that I'm going to get us out of.
I don't think he's lying when he says that. I think right now, in the moment, he prefers to stay at South Carolina. He prefers to stay in the SEC over the ACC. He wants to make this work at South Carolina. The reality is, though, they're 3-4. The reality is they started off the year 2-0, where they beat Virginia Tech, where they beat South Carolina State. Then they lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to Missouri. They beat Kentucky, who stinks. They then lost to LSU, right? You lose to LSU. I get it, LSU's a good defensive team this year, but offensively, they can't do anything. Couldn't find a way to get to 21 points against them. And then they lose to Oklahoma 26-7. Now, here's the thing. Is it going to get prettier for South Carolina? They play Alabama this week. I think we know how that's going to go. Then after that, they're at Ole Miss. Then after that, they have a bye week leading into at A&M. This could be heading down the road in what was supposed to be a playoff type of season where South Carolina is going to be 3-7. And would it be really fair, since Nick Saban now is all about being fair, which is crazy to me how he thought it was unfair what happened to James Franklin. Would it be fair after 1 year where it really got away from him that, coming off a 9-4 season, Shane Beamer at South Carolina is 7-6, 8-5, 5-7, 9-4, and now they're 3-4. Like, has it been great? No, but you got to consider what the job is. He's been more good than bad at South Carolina. So would it be fair if at South Carolina they said after this year, we don't really want you as the head football coach? No, but is it out of the realm of possibilities? I'm not going to say that because that is a loyal fan base. They got money. And even though I think Shane Beamer is the right guy for the job, it is a copycat type of sport. And we've seen dominoes fall where there's a lot of jobs open up. So could Shane Beamer maybe say to himself at the end of the year, wow, this really got away from me. All right, maybe even if I'm not getting fired, I kind of start to sense where this is heading, and maybe people have 1 foot in, 1 foot out on me. And if that's the case, then maybe he does end up running to Virginia Tech. Because Virginia Tech, right, they would love to have him. I don't think Shane Beamer would love to be the head football coach at Virginia Tech. I think he wants to make this work at South Carolina, but I also believe that he has to be realistic. Colby's Corner 24/7 Sports had Brad Crawford on, and this is how Brad Crawford respond to Shane Beamer's comments.
Yeah, this was a typical Shane Beamer response to a reporter's intel that maybe he disagreed with or didn't want to get out or anything of that like. I'll say this, man. I do not see Shane Beamer leaving South Carolina on his own accord and taking the Virginia Tech vacancy unless the Hokies made him a substantial offer that he couldn't refuse. You know, you don't leave a SEC job for an ACC job unless you have a reason to do so. I never said in that article that Beamer does not want to be at South Carolina. However, there is guaranteed mutual interest from both sides. I talked to 4 different sources on this. They all gave me the same info. I fully believe that Shane is being truthful when he says numerous times that this position at South Carolina is his dream job. But that being said, it doesn't dismiss the fact that there are several folks on Virginia Tech search committee who have Beamer at the top of their list. At least half of those folks in that room now have signed NDAs. They want Shane Beamer in Blacksburg.
Here's the thing. You got to make him say no. And it can't just be like a half-ass effort. You got to put on the full court press if you're Virginia Tech for one Shane Beamer. Let's hear from Mike Elko. A lot of people are linking him to the Penn State job. Once again, if I'm Mike Elko, I'm not leaving my current situation with the finances that are allocated towards the A&M football program, the success he's having. I'm not leaving A&M for Penn State, but he does have obviously Northeast ties. Here is Mike Elko. Does he talk to his players about all these job rumors?
I don't discuss it with my players. I think it's absolutely hilarious how you guys cover coaches. I think 3 weeks ago I was getting fired. Now I'm getting hired. Now you don't want me to stay, but I'm leaving. Like, it's absolutely hilarious. It is a waste of brain space to spend any time talking or thinking about any of that stupidity.
Can I ask a question? He said 3 weeks ago he was getting fired. Mike Elko last year, right? First year at A&M. They lost week 1 to Notre Dame. And then after that, they did go on to win 7 games in a row. 7 games in a row. And at the end of the season, they were 8-4, and they lost the bowl game to make them to 8-5. I think you looked at it, even though it wasn't perfect, and they lost to Auburn and Texas at the end of the season, people looked at Mike Elko, and they said the first-year results were good. Like, they were fine. They were solid. But then let's see what happens in year number 2. And at what point in a season where they're 7-0, did anyone say that, oh, Mike Elko was getting fired? So 3 weeks ago would have been after a victory over Auburn leading into a game up against Mississippi State. And then a few weeks prior to that, they beat Notre Dame at South Bend. I'm just going to say it. I don't think Mike Elko should leave A&M. I do not. But he didn't do a great job in really dismissing those rumors because he lied to you. He made up something. Oh, 3 weeks ago, I'm getting fired. No, you weren't. What are you talking about, Mike Elko, 3 weeks? You're undefeated. Undefeated right now at A&M. You didn't have to overcome any adversity this year. Style points don't matter right now in college football. So do I think there's a chance Mike Elko is the next head coach at Penn State? It's the first time I've actually said this. I do think there's a chance. He left that door open. Because there's ways to shoot that down, and there's ways to not really give the media what they want without saying, like, hey, I'm 100% not going to be the coach of Penn State. But he didn't do a good job in convincing me because he made up something. Oh, 3 weeks ago, I'm about to get fired. No, you weren't. What are you talking about? And let's get to Jedd Fisch. Jedd Fisch is at Washington. A few years ago, he was at Arizona. He left to go be the head football coach at Washington when Kalen DeBoer elected to take the job at Alabama a year ago. Here is Jed Fish on all the coaching rumors. A lot of people are linking him potentially with his ties and his love for the University of Florida as maybe becoming the next Gators coach.
Yeah, I'm not going to address any of the coaching changes or coaching rumors or anything to that effect. I've learned from that, the most important thing we can do here is talk about being where our feet are. And I think it's a really important time for us to play really well this week. And that's what our focus is on. And my responsibility is to make sure that our team is fully ready to play our best game on Saturday.
You know what that is? That is, I know I'm not their top candidate at Florida. A lot of people would have to say no for me to get the offer. But if they say yes, you bet your ass I'll be the next head football coach at Florida. That's how I interpret that answer. All righty. So there we are, sifting through Shane Beamer, also Mike Elko, and Jed Fish. We'll take a time out here on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We have a team in Toronto that is now America's team. We'll tell you why on the other. You like that line there, eh?
Hey, that's very good. You think of that as Santer.
Yeah, no, right away.
That's you, all right.
The moment the game ended last night, people have since stolen it or people have since posted it on their own.
You're right there.
The minute when they won that game, I said, no one wants to see the Dodgers win outside if you're a Dodgers fan. The Toronto Blue Jays are America's team now.
All right. Attaboy, Spider.
How about those Blue Jays? Right? It sounds like Jimmy Johnson, correct?
Yeah,
The Moon Dog?
there you go.
Let's get the latest update in with the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And this report is brought to you by Advantage Gold. Gold has outperformed stocks over the past 25 years. It's time you added gold to your portfolio. To get started with Advantage Gold, text GOLD to 85545 for their free gold investment guide. That's 85545 today. Visit AdvantageGold.com for terms. Message and data rates may apply. The NBA season opens tonight with a doubleheader on one of the league's new TV partners, NBC. The Thunder begin their title defense against the Rockets, who have championship aspirations of their own following the acquisition of Kevin Durant. It's a tough challenge for the Thunder right off the bat, but MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said they'll be fine.
We should be ahead of a lot of teams since we have basically the same team from last year. Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. We won't be as good tomorrow as we want to be, and we'll be a week from now and 2 weeks from now going forward. But I think we're at a good starting point.
The other game tonight features the Warriors looking to recapture their glory days along with three aging stars. They take on Luka Doncic and the Lakers. The Angels have reportedly hired Kurt Suzuki as their new manager. Carson Wentz, once again the Vikings starting quarterback this week with J.J. McCarthy still ailing. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, the Defensive Player of the Week is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. This week's player is Packers edge rusher Micah Parsons. In Sunday's 27-3 win over the Cardinals, Parsons had 5 tackles and 3 sacks. Let's get to Game 7 last night in the NLCS. Stu, I know you're a huge baseball guy. Were you really plugged into Game 7 last night, just wondering?
No, I was on a plane.
Oh, you were coming back from Vegas? Wow, we bury the lead. Forget about the playoffs. How was Vegas? Did you win your parlay, by the way?
Did not.
What?
Stupid Dolphins.
Oh, the Dolphins crushed you.
Dive.
I
was mad at myself. I was between the Bears and the Dolphins, and I got Dolphins. I know.
I'm not bad take Boyle. I'm not the mush that is Mike Samter. I sit here and bitch and complain about the Dolphins all the time.
I know.
You pick the Dolphins? The Dolphins?
It was a bad idea.
Ryan Horvat, by the way, on our Sunday show, he told me that the Browns were his favorite bet of the weekend.
Should have listened to your show Sunday morning.
Oh, no, you shouldn't have. You were in Vegas. So did you go to – where'd you go in Vegas?
Went to a lot of places. We did a lot of gambling in different places. I did not win any money. I only lost like –
Roulette?
No, mostly blackjack.
Okay, blackjack, okay.
Blackjack and then the parlay. We went to Fogo, which is always one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah!
That was fun.
Green all day, baby.
We went to a Golden Knights game, which was also fun.
Well, that's cool. That's like a concert going to that
I
game.
could not believe the atmosphere for a regular season hockey game like 2 weeks into the season.
When I went with
great.
Sully and Perloff during the Super Bowl week, I love hockey. And the Oilers were on this incredible win streak up against the Vegas Golden Knights. And I think the Knights snapped the streak, if memory serves me right. But anyway, or maybe I could be wrong. It's on the hockey puck here. Hold on. Do me a favor. It's been a few years. Samter, can you look up February 6, 2024, what the score was between Vegas and Edmonton? I think the Oilers scored early with McDavid. And then after that, the Knights ended up winning the game. I want to say 2-1 or 3-1?
3-1.
3-1 Knights?
3-1 Knights.
Okay. So there you go. How about that? We got a puck out of here. I may steal this.
I saw a 6-1 win by the Golden Knights, and there were 3 fights.
Who they play?
Calgary.
Oh, okay. So easy to do so. But anyway, before the game, you had that presentation on the ice. And I said to Sully, I go, I love hockey, so I'm going to stay around, but I could have left. I could have left right after that. That's such a cool in-arena.
Awesome. Really cool.
Attractions and things that they do. So what you guys, like, you're sitting all the way up top?
Yeah, we're
bunch
up
of
top.
yous?
Yeah.
How many of you?
7 of us.
Oh, my God. 7 of you at a hockey game? Rowdy crowd after, 3-4 days in Vegas?
Yeah. I would say 5/7 of
Stu was high up there, if you know what I'm saying. He was high up there in the sky.
I would say 5/7 of us probably don't remember much about the actual game.
Oh, Blackout Stu. Sounds like a good new overnight show. Blackout Stu on the Infinity Sports Network. That'd be a good show.
If you follow Stu on Twitter and social media, that's basically Blackout Stu right there.
Green out Stu. You are wearing a green shirt today, buddy.
This is true, yeah.
Oh, I think it's green.
It is.
The cameras are so low quality right now when I'm looking at the monitor. It kind of looks like green. It kind of looks like gray. Who knows? But anyway, so you had a good time in Vegas.
Had a good time. Yeah. The Raiders experience of watching all the games at a bar was not great considering how they played against the Chiefs.
But anyway, I know you're a big baseball fan, so you won't watch the game because you were on a flight.
Right.
It's weird. For a Game 7, I didn't really feel a lot of, like we talked about it yesterday for 5 minutes, I didn't feel a lot of juice. And it's Game 7 of an ALCS, spot in the World Series on the line, and it just didn't feel like there was a lot of national juice, but the game paid off and delivered. Paid off in a big way. Rodriguez hit a home run. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, hit a home run too. And it looked like the Mariners were going to cruise their way to the World Series. And then they made that change out of the bullpen where they didn't go to Munoz, their closer, in the 7th. And let's play you some of the audio here because Death Taxes and George Springer coming up in the clutch moment. This is on the Blue Jays radio network. This is George Springer hitting that go-ahead 3-run home run that did put Toronto into a frenzy.
1-0 pitch. Swing and a fly ball. Left field and deep. Arozarena turns. Gone! A Springer dinger. 4-3 Blue Jays in the bottom of the 7th.
A Springer dinger. That's a good line. That's a good line on the Blue Jays radio network.
Was he crying in the middle of that call?
I think it was just emotions. I will say, I usually like a voice crack for my play-by-play announcer in a moment like that. Sean McDonough, he is always a good voice crack guy, especially in football. Like 10-5 touchdown. You always want a good voice crack somewhere in it. Like it doesn't have to be that high of a voice crack, but even just a minor voice crack. Tessitore sometimes has a little bit of a voice crack when he does the games, even though he's like, that dude sounds as if he has 900 cups of coffee in his system before he even says one word into a microphone. Let's hear from George Springer on his huge 3-run shot that eventually did put the Blue Jays in the World Series.
Honestly, I was just trying to get the guy in from third. Those are 3 huge at-bats by Barger, by Izzy, by Hemming to have us in that spot, and our team just kind of operates on, let's get to the next guy. And, I know who's up behind me, so it's one of those spots, honestly, where I was just trying to get the guy in from third, and, here we are.
Remember before the season where Vladimir Guerrero Jr., everyone was sitting there saying, oh, he's probably going to get traded to the Mets at some point because it doesn't seem like he's going to re-sign in Toronto, and the Blue Jays probably aren't really going anywhere after what was a miserable season for them last year. Well, he got a new contract before the start of the season, and now he's going to the World Series. Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on re-signing with the Blue Jays.
When you signed to stay here in Toronto before this season, is this exactly what you had in mind?
Yes. Yes, but the job is not finished. We got 4 more to go.
There we go. 4 more to go for the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's get the other side. We will get some sound from the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, on losing Game 7 of the ALCS.
I hate to use the word failure, but it's a failure. And that's what we expected, was to get to a World Series, win a World Series, and that's, what the bar is and the standard is, and, that's what we want to hold ourselves accountable to. But, yeah, it hurts, but I don't want that to take away from, like I said, I'm proud of the guys in this room.
Did you guys see the video in the Mariners locker room after the game? Someone's doing an interview, and in the middle of the interview, you just hear a loud, hellacious scream that was just let out. And I thought it was AI at first. Some people are speculating that was the big dumper in the locker room. Not taking a big dump, but he was just screaming at the top of his lungs, and people think it was him while there was an interview that was going on. You just heard a loud, ah! That basically was just let out in that locker room out of frustration. So that was that.
Chris Persianen, and I don't know if I trust his sources, says it was Julio Rodriguez who made that scream.
Oh, I thought they were interviewing Julio Rodriguez. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it was Julio Rodriguez who, according to Chris Persianen, who, let's be real, those are some questionable sources that I'm just kidding. Chris Persianen has some good sources. We know he's a big NBA insider for clutch points and all that stuff. Chris, you could turn on the microphone. It's all right. We're not like crazy who we don't put on the air. You don't need a degree to get in order to. You have a degree. You went to Fordham, but yeah, go ahead. Tell me what you got to say.
Yeah, that's what that.
Speak into the mic. It helps when you speak into the microphone.
It was Brian Wu they were interviewing.
You're right. And it was Julio Rodriguez. How did they know it was Julio Rodriguez?
I don't remember the exact name, but a reporter in the Seattle-based reporter said that was J-Rod.
Yeah, I guess for the storyline, it would have been better if it was the big dumper. So that's maybe why a lot of people were speculating on the good old cesspool of Twitter. Thank you, Chris Persianen, for the assist. Basketball season's back, by the way. Hey, quick question. Put Chris Persianen back on the microphone, because now I have a basketball question. This is going to be a free-for-all, really, for the next 2 months. Chris Persianen, when you get to basketball and you look at the Eastern Conference, are the Knicks going to the NBA Finals this year?
Zach, it's a good question. The East wider open than it's been, and it's always seen as kind of the weaker conference. Now it's the definite weakest conference. I think the Knicks are primed for an NBA Finals run. I will say the Cleveland Cavaliers have a lot of the right pieces, but DeAndre Hunter is a good wing. He can't be your only wing. So Lonzo Ball's health is going to be huge there. The team that scares me most outside of those two is not the Orlando Magic. It's Trae Young finally having a stretch 5, finally having 3 different really talented young guys on his team: Jalen Johnson, Risa Shea, Daniels. I'm scared of the Hawks.
So Chris Persianen's Eastern Conference power rankings right now, if you gave me 3, would it be Knicks 1, Cavs 2, Hawks 3?
Absolutely, yes. And I'd have the Magic right at 4, which is not a diss to them. They just did their version of the Mikal Bridges trade, giving up 5 first-round picks for a versatile, defensively able 2-guard. But I don't know that they have all the pieces to climb that mountain just yet.
Just give me the team name, no explanation. If it's not the Thunder coming out of the West, who's coming out of the West?
Denver.
And if it's not Denver, then who?
Can it be the Thunder?
Well, nor Denver or the Thunder. Let's keep that going. Rockets?
We're going with the unction, but not the Clippers. We're going with Steph and Jimmy.
Ooh, what are you calling them?
The Clippers are the unction.
Why?
Because it's like they're all like 36 years old.
Like uncle, like unk.
Instead of a function, it's an unction.
Gotcha. I thought you were about to make some tree planting service joke or something like that when you're talking about the Clippers.
We love the environment here on the Zach Gelb Show.
What was that? What was it? Aspire?
Aspiration.
Yeah, the Clippers aspire to be healthy this year. The Clippers aspire to be in the postseason. I got one more basketball question for you. We should make him like sit down and get back up, sit down and get back up.
This will be my cardio for the day.
Giannis to the Knicks. Windhorst said that was a possibility. Shams Charania said it was a possibility. How close do you think that ever was this offseason?
I know for sure, like, when it was mid-August, I was getting texts about roster might shake up. Can't say what it is, but something might happen here. It seems now we know what it was. I don't know. Windhorst is my favorite NBA reporter in the game, but I don't know if I agree with him that it could have happened. The Knicks extended Mikal Bridges in June. This Giannis stuff happened in August, according to ESPN's report. So it could not have happened, literally, unless they traded guys that we know they're not going to trade, like Jalen Brunson.
All righty. Here's the last thing that I'm going to say. You're good. You can sit back down. No, wait, I got one more. No, I'm just kidding. You can sit back down. Going back to the baseball just real quickly. The Dodgers have so many pieces from a history standpoint that if they have their moments like Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, obviously it elicits a reaction. And obviously it's very memorable. But right now, with how dominant the Dodgers have been, and it's their world and we're just all living in it, how can you not, unless if you are a Dodgers fan, how can you not be rooting for the Toronto Blue Jays? I'm just saying. I know they're in Toronto, but they are now America's team for the next week to 2 weeks. That's what they are. I'm a Mets fan. I don't hate the Dodgers, right? They're good. I respect them. I like the Mets to start playing like the Dodgers. Even if you're a Yankee fan, come on. Or if you're an Astro, let's root for the Blue Jays. We don't want to see the Dodgers win another one. The Toronto Blue Jays, America's team. Tom Hannifan next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. You can check out Tom Hannifan's podcast, State of State. And obviously, there's a lot going on with the folks up in Happy Valley because last week they fired James Franklin. We'll see who's going to be the new head football coach of Penn State in the coming weeks or maybe the coming months. And also, Penn State makes a change. Florida, the inevitable happened with Billy Napier. He is out. So we will have some speculation on who's going to be the next football coach down in the swamp. And we'll go around the college football slate right now with our pal, Tom Hannifan. Tom, always appreciate it. Thanks so much. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm not as good as a Temple football fan. Congrats on that hard-fought victory against Charlotte this past weekend. My goodness. I mean, everything's just looking up for the Owls. That's great.
Are you being sarcastic right now?
No, I would never do that.
I was going to say, you can't kick us right now because you're down and we're all the way back up. You know, party like it's, 2015 when we stomped your ass and scored 27 unanswered.
I attended that game, and that was heartbreaking. My mother, who was class of 78 Penn State, in the third quarter was like, we're leaving. She's never left a Penn State game in her life. And we were all like, oh, my God, we're actually leaving this game right now. It was pretty rough. It was rough.
Yeah, I think Christian Hackenberg, who's now a friend, just got sacked again from that contest. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm being a jackass today to start this conversation. So when you look back at the James Franklin era, how do you look back on it, you being obviously someone that has a lot of pride in Penn State?
Far more good than bad. I think there's a lot of toxicity around the fan base and the program right now, understandably so. A lot of people wanted James Franklin out years ago, believed he hit his ceiling years ago. But when you look at the entire body of work, taking this program from virtually death's door with the sanctions after the Sandusky scandal, James Franklin did not even fully understand the job he was inheriting. The university did not completely inform him of just how bad it was going to be. So taking things from the Paterno era, his passing, Bill O'Brien there for a year to just attempt to stabilize things, then off to the National Football League, and then comes James Franklin after success at Vanderbilt. I think you have to look at what he did and say thank you, because what he did was resurrect a program and took a job that nobody wanted, really. And he did have a lot of success. The downside is what everybody's going to point towards is that he couldn't win the big game against top 10 opponents. It was ironic to me that on College Game Day this past weekend, he said we won, quote, a lot of big games. I think there's a difference between big wins morally for your team and big wins for your program that move you forward. And I think that's ultimately what frustrated people with James Franklin. And I just felt he had hit his ceiling years ago. And finally, when he claimed over the summer that he had the best staff and roster that he'd ever assembled at Penn State, and you go on a 3-game skid like you did when the team was supposed to contend for the national championship, his proverbial head hit the ceiling, and Pat Kraft had to make a decision.
Yeah, and I will defend the Penn State fan, and I know I don't usually do that, but this idea that the Penn State fan is treating James Franklin unfairly, it is. I don't think there's been anyone that has fought the last 3 years about James Franklin with the Penn State fans more than me. And just saying that I think that they need to move on and they need a coach that could go get the ball from the 5 into the end zone when it comes to winning a national championship. But I acknowledge James Franklin is good. I just don't think he's great. But Nick Saban over the weekend, for a guy that has the highest standard, saying that James Franklin got treated unfairly and all this stuff, I couldn't believe what I was hearing from Nick Saban.
I agree with you, and I said as much on X. I think if you hop on social media right now, it's very negative and very one-sided, people going against James Franklin. As someone who's worked in television for now 14 years, here's my advice. Don't go on social media. You're not going to get a lot of positivity in general. But there's also that old adage from Mad Men. That's what the money's for. He's been paid tens of millions of dollars. Multiple instances where James Franklin tried to float, the USC job's out there, or the LSU job is out there. This past summer, according to multiple Penn State sources, he asked Pat Kraft for a contract extension. His existing contract, which he's now being bought out of, goes to 2031. So he legitimately wanted either more money or better language or a longer contract after coming a drive away from the national championship last year. Pat Kraft said no, and the story that's come out of State College is that James Franklin went over Pat Kraft's head. How would your manager feel if you went over his head to their boss to try and get a new contract? You'd be furious. So I think James Franklin ultimately was taken down by the very alignment that he craved. And yes, there is a lot of negativity right now. But as someone who has followed this team since I was a child and attended the university, got my degree there, so many of my close friends have experienced this football team and experienced the James Franklin tenure. We're extremely grateful because we wouldn't be in this position of being able to credibly contend for the national championship, being in the upper echelon of college football, if it weren't for the contributions of James Franklin. It's not solely one man, but there's so much you have to point towards in terms of what James Franklin did in his 12 years, and you have to say thank you. So I completely disagree with what Nick Saban said.
Talking to Tom Hannifan right now. Moving forward, I will also say this. There's a lot of people the last few years that said, you can't get rid of James Franklin because who could you bring in that's better? And right now, we don't know who the coach is going to be. And I know a lot of Penn State fans are Eagles fans. It's like when you got rid of Andy Reid. Did Chip Kelly work? No. So maybe it's not the right hire right away, and it needs to be for Pat Kraft. But when they hired Doug Peterson, when they hired Nick Sirianni, people called both those coaches the village idiot or the class clown, and both ended up winning a Super Bowl. So on the resume on whoever the next coach is, it probably won't be better than James Franklin, but it doesn't mean that Penn State can't take that next step under that new head coach.
Very true. I think the Penn State fan base right now wants to see the next hire be a proven winner, not just someone who builds programs, that sort of thing. There's a lot of negativity surrounding Matt Rule, his Temple days, his connection with Pat Kraft. A lot of people are pointing towards that. Pat Kraft has a history of hiring people that he has relationships with. Shocker, that's just kind of how the world works. That's business. That's corporate life. So I think there's a lot of negativity around Matt Rule. And by the way, Nebraska plays at Penn State next month. So imagine if he lost at Penn State and then got hired a couple weeks later to be the head coach of the Nittany Lions. The realistic possibilities and candidates, only Pat Kraft knows the answer to that. Personally, ironically, I'd love to see Nick Saban, but also I'd love to have a G5 airplane and be able to retire tomorrow. So of course I would take that. I think there's a lot of Penn State fans, as much as they despise Urban Meyer at Ohio State, would make a deal with the devil, so to speak, and get Urban Meyer in because he's proven that he can do it. I've seen people throw out John Gruden John Gruden, who will probably never do anything in the NFL ever again because of his lawsuit right now, but has also never proven it at the college level as a head coach in the modern era of college football. Kurt Signetti, that's off the table. Eli Drinkowitz from Mizzou. I think that's an intriguing one because he does bring the confidence and conviction that Pat Kraft has been talking about. He's done a good job rebuilding his staff year in, year out. Outside of that, Matt Campbell from Iowa State doesn't excite me all that much as a Penn State football fan. Manny Diaz is interesting, has a connection, obviously, former defensive coordinator. There's a lot of names that are thrown out there, man, and this is the hard part for Penn State fans is you just have to wait because a lot of these guys are either working right now or they're unattainable. If you had to make a prediction right now, just throw out the name. Who's the next coach of Penn State? Man, like my heart wants to say no, but my brain is telling me Matt Rule. Gotcha. I would have said Eli Drinkwitz, but Florida opens up. Yep. I think he's a fit in both places, and I think him and Pat Kraft would mesh really well. But he's in the SEC now. You get to stay in the SEC. I'd be curious if Eli Drinkwitz would prefer Florida or Penn State. Yeah, it's tough to say. I think they're comparable jobs right now. But for me, looking at the Florida job as an outsider, who wants to work with Scott Strickland? Like, really, this has been bungled. I'd rather be the coach of Penn State right now than Florida, if I'm being honest. Right, because, like, now, granted, you're inheriting a great brand, a great program at Florida. Mm-hmm. But remember last year, the statement that Strickland put out and said, you know, like that weird statement, like, oh, we're sticking with Billy Napier. And everybody's like, well, why did you put this out? Like, you didn't need to say anything. You just could have not fired him and just kept on going. And then it leaks last weekend that no matter the outcome of the Mississippi State game, they're going to fire Billy Napier and they win the game. Like, when's the last time you saw an athletic department or athletic director this dysfunctional? Maybe, I don't know, what was it, pre-Mario Cristobal at Miami when it was an absolute dumpster fire? Like, yeah, you'll take the job. And if you're Lane Kiffin or Eli Drinkowitz, maybe you can step in and call your shots and put Strickland to the side. Billy Napier's production was not good enough, so Strickland was able to kind of get away with what he wants. But do you really want to deal with that AD? I wouldn't. Here's another thing, too, when we get back to the Penn State job. I said it right when it opened up. I think they should call Urban Meyer. And I don't know if Urban Meyer would say no. But I will say, I don't think the phone call's coming. I don't think Penn State is calling Urban Meyer. How about yourself? I think it would be a polarizing hire. I think it would be polarizing because of his connection with Ohio State. Urban Meyer is no saint. I think that's been put out there a number of times as a human being. But winning. Let's be real. Right. So do you, like I was just saying, do you make a deal with the devil? This guy who we know what he... It would be great for college football if we got Urban Meyer at Penn State. It'd be great for college football. You know that he would more than likely get you over the hump to a national championship. But the concept of success with honor at Penn State, the tradition, all those sorts of things, I feel like there's enough push against that I don't see Urban Meyer getting the call. Here's the other thing. Does Urban Meyer's style work in the year of 2026? Because now you see a lot of coaches, the successful coaches, they're player coaches, but they're not doormats. Urban Meyer is not a player coach. He's a my way or a highway type of guy. And you look back at that Florida documentary, you can't get away with that stuff in the year of 2026. No, but the irony of his time with Florida and Ohio State is that he was also a player's coach. You hear a lot of guys from the college football ranks that played underneath him all the way back to Utah that said he did right by them. Now, to your point, where did it land in the grand legality? Yeah. Oh, I thought we lost Tom Hannifan. That's a shame. We'll reconnect with Tom. Hopefully we get him back up because I have another question or two for Tom Hannifan. But he definitely froze right there. I could still see him on the screen. I don't even think he realized he froze yet. You think Hannifan's still talking and talking and talking? Oh, I think he's no longer. I think he is no longer frozen because I see his mouth moving. So I think we got Tom Hannifan back. Do we?
All righty, let's see if we got Tom back. You froze there for a second.
I'm very sorry. Do you have me now?
I think Penn State maybe went into your Zoom and they said, stop talking about Urban Meyer. That's my conspiracy
It's entirely
theory.
possible. But I'll wrap it up on this on Urban Meyer. I think him and Pat Kraft, two very aggressive mindsets. You have Pat Kraft, who wants to be more aggressive with utilizing the elite resources, as he says it, getting into the transfer portal more, getting elite recruits out of high school, as opposed to taking discount players, that sort of thing. And I think Urban Meyer and him could actually work well together. I don't know if their personalities would mesh, but their mindsets feel similar to me.
All right, last thing that I'll ask you. When you look back at Penn State the last few years, if you take James Franklin off the table, what's the more stunning part? Knowles, the offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, the lack of development for Drew Aller. When you look at all these big moves that have been made and all this hype around those guys, who stands out to you the most?
I think the most stunning thing is none of those. It's Nick Singleton. Nick Singleton was the Gatorade Player of the Year coming out of high school, and I don't entirely forgive everything with Drew Aller. He was a 3-star as a junior, gets elevated to a 4-star. He doesn't become a 5-star until he's already committed to Penn State, and he's playing in his senior season. And you can kind of understand the ranking system. Feels like they kind of gave it to him, and you understand the incremental progress that he was maybe going to make. Multiple offensive coordinators. How many times did we say square peg in a round hole with both schemes that he was playing in? And you never really saw that true development. I look at Nick Singleton, and we heard this offseason from new running backs coach Stan Drayton, who was the head coach at your alma mater, saying Nick Singleton's finally being taught the position of playing running back, not just being an athlete who gets handed the ball and runs. How insane is that to you? Part of that is condemning Juwan Sider, who's now the running backs coach at Notre Dame. You're kind of sitting there like, what were you doing this whole time? And Katron Allen, meanwhile, is widening the gap and looks like the better running back. How did Nick Singleton not pan out? That's the incredible thing to me.
Last thing, would you agree with me that Mike Elko shouldn't leave the job he has now at A&M for Penn State if you take your Penn State fandom out of it?
I completely agree that he should stay at Texas A&M. I think he has every resource. He's clearly building that team into a winner once again. Texas A&M is one of those, in my opinion, top 10 jobs in college football. And when you have that team competing at an SEC championship level or even a national championship level, the support that you will get behind it is incredible. And he's building that team in his image, and he's still very shortly into his tenure at Texas A&M. Why would you leave College Station?
So I 100% agree with you. I never even thought it was an actual possibility. I thought it was a name that just gets floated out there. Let me just play you real quickly. This is Mike Elko at the podium yesterday addressing the rumors linking him to other jobs.
I don't discuss it with my players. I think it's absolutely hilarious how you guys cover coaches. I think 3 weeks ago I was getting fired. Now I'm getting hired. Now you don't want me to stay, but I'm leaving. Like, it's absolutely hilarious. It is a waste of brain space to spend any time talking or thinking about any of that stupidity.
3 weeks ago, he was getting fired. Last time I checked, A&M's undefeated. No one was saying 3 weeks ago that Mike Elko should get fired. That lie, I'm not saying it's happening, but it makes me think that it's not off the table of Mike Elko doing something that I think would be crazy, leaving A&M and going to Penn State.
If you're a head coach, fielding these questions at any point in time, speaking in absolutes is the worst thing that you can do. If you say, yes, I'm staying, or no, I'm absolutely not staying here, you're screwed either way. You have to speak in riddles, and you have to speak in the gray, essentially. So if I'm his PR guy, I'm saying, hats off, you nailed it, because nobody has any idea where he's actually going from here.
He is Tom Hannifan. Tom, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
There you go. The great Tom Hannifan joining us on the show. We'll do a little overreaction, proper reaction, I believe, next. No, we'll get to a news brief next on the other side. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GELB. That's code GELB, G-E-L-B. Bet $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Budo Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Must be present in state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets that are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass is subjected to blackouts and other restrictions and all renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until November 16th, 2025.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
All righty, let's start it off with Jackson Smith-Njigba on the fast start that he's having to this season. He leads the NFL in receiving yards.
Pretty good start. Like I said, my motive has always been, win games, get into the playoffs, get a ring, helping this team win. And anything that I can do to help that, I'm going to do.
And you look around the NFL, and you saw the Seahawks opponent last night, the Houston Texans. But you look, the Ravens have been the most disappointing team this season. I still don't know how to look at the Cincinnati Bengals because you do have the injury to Joe Burrow, so they're disappointing too. I think the Texans, though, are enormously disappointing as well. I can talk about the Dolphins. I didn't think the Dolphins were going to be that good. But the Texans are supposed to win this division easily. The Jaguars have been fine, better than I thought, but I don't think they're going to be that good at the end of the season. And you started to see those signs on Sunday morning up against the Los Angeles Rams. But the Colts have been unbelievable. But when we're talking about surprise here, I mean in a bad way. The Texans are right there. All right, they're at 2-4 right now. They beat Tennessee, and they beat the Baltimore Ravens, two of the worst teams in the NFL. And last night they lost to the Seattle Seahawks 27-19 and never really truly felt like they were in the game. The offense continues to be a struggle for the Texans. Here's D'Amico Ryans on the Texans season so far.
We are what our record says we are. So, we got another opportunity. It doesn't matter. We got another opportunity coming next week, short week. It doesn't matter. We got to flush this. We got to move on, get ready for the next one.
And let's go to C.J. Stroud and the offensive struggles versus the Seahawks.
We just didn't catch a rhythm. They did a good job of just keeping the shell. And then some of those started shorts and, plays like that, we got to execute. But I think it starts with me, and I got to do a better job of distributing the ball better.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm going to do some research after the show. But I just thought about it now. I'm curious what C.J. Stroud's stats are and his record is after he did that whole situation last year with Caleb Williams when he basically tried to act as if he was Tom Brady when talking to Caleb Williams. I'm really curious after that conversation how C.J. Stroud's been doing as a quarterback because they don't feel that good. Let's get to Dan Campbell on Jahmyr Gibbs. Obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs last night had 17 carries for 136 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and also did catch 3 footballs for 82 yards. Here is Dan Campbell on Jahmyr Gibbs.
As he gets in better shape and starts getting his feet under him, starts getting a feel of it, starts breaking some tackles, you just feel like every week it's gotten closer and closer. And tonight was the night where he busted one of these out of there, and there'll be no looking back. I mean, I think he's just going to continue to do this.
And then let's get to Mike Evans. Obviously, he's one of the more likable guys in the league. He's been so consistent. He's been so good. You just have so much respect for him. Last night, he broke his clavicle, and he's expected to be out for most of the season. We'll see if he does return. Here is Todd Bowles on losing his star wide receiver.
It's never good to see one of your stars go down like that, especially with him just coming back and everybody excited to see him. So, it's a tough blow, but we've been holding it down since he's been gone, and we just got to regroup and come back.
And you look at Mike Evans, that 1,000-yard streak, which obviously did continue last year. That's been such a big streak. It's not going to happen this year. He's already missed so many games. He's 140 yards right now. But ever since he entered the league in 2014, he's had 1,000 yards in every season in the NFL, and that's going to come to an end this year. Even last year, only playing 14 games, just cleared that 1,000-yard receiving mark, getting 1,004 receiving yards. Let's keep it moving. We'll stay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield on not letting this loss really make this team spiral in the wrong direction.
Great teams don't let that happen, and we're different this year. And like I said, got a lot of things to fix, and we will do that. And we still have great leadership. It's another loss on our record, but still have great leadership and still a lot of ball left. So this one sucks. It should suck. We expected to play well. We expect to win when we come out here and compete. But we'll get it fixed and we'll move forward.
And I know with their injuries, you don't know what to expect, but they do have New Orleans this weekend. Then they have a bye week. Then after that, they get a good 3-game stretch. They play New England. They're at Buffalo. And then they are at the LA Rams. And that's a Sunday night football game on NBC. Yeah. Let's get to Brandon Graham, BG. He's coming on back, coming out of retirement. This is Brandon Graham Unblocked podcast. He even has his own podcast where he made the announcement on coming back to the Eagles.
I really didn't want to
retire in the beginning. It was kind of, it was kind of tough. But it was like, hey, Philly right now, they got everything they need. So it's like, all right, well, I ain't want to see myself on no other team. So it was kind of like, I think this the best way to do it is just go out on top. When we get close to the season, man, I know how we wanted to vet, and he reached out to my agent and
at the start of the season.
At the start of the season,
okay,
it's like, hey, I know, way back when, what we said is more like, hey, now let's get it. Like, we need him. I'm just like, man, at the time I was like, nah, I ain't ready. I ain't ready for that right now. So, but he ended up signing Zadarius.
I talked to Brandon Graham last week. I knew he was interested. I didn't know if the Eagles were going to be interested. And I always was told, or was under the thought process, not from Brandon, but from other people, that Howie Roseman was done with Brandon Graham. So I'm a little bit surprised that the talks went back that far and that they actually came to fruition, and now Brandon Graham's coming on back with the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's hear Cam Newton. This is on ESPN. He is not buying that Drake May is right now a top 5 quarterback.
Top 5 in the NFL?
Yep.
Top 5 in the NFL?
He's playing like a top 5 quarterback.
All right. Damian Dakari, you're tripping, son. If he plays good football, yes, he definitely is. But top 5 in the NFL?
Yep.
That's a little angry. But to this point, now nothing against Drake May, because I'm a fan. If I've never been a fan of any young quarterback, he's my favorite. But I don't think he's reached a limit where now this is a person that you really have to consider in top 5. These performances, if we have to state the obvious, came by way of the Tennessee Titans. The game that was really impressive was when he played against Buffalo, and that's not to discredit anything that he's doing. I'm just saying, for him to get labeled a top 5 quarterback, he has to do it versus well and capable competition on a consistent basis.
Let me just ask you a question here, Stu. When I look at Drake May, right now, is he playing like he's a top 5 quarterback?
I would say so.
Right? I don't think it doesn't mean that if I did a top 5 list of, going into next year who are the top 5 quarterbacks, that he's going to be on it. But right now, I don't think we can name 5 quarterbacks that are playing better. All right, you want to still say Josh Allen, right? Even though he just beat Josh, but I'll still give you Josh Allen. It's not Tua. It's not Justin Fields. Drake May is playing better football than Aaron Rodgers. Drake May is playing better football than Joe Flacco. Drake May is playing better football than Dylan Gabriel. Lamar Jackson isn't on the field. I'll give you Daniel Jones, right? Right? You go Daniel Jones. Drake May is playing better than Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, Cam Ward, Bo Nix, Justin Herbert. I give you Mahomes, right? Mahomes playing some good football, and right now is the odds-on favorite to win the MVP. Drake May's playing better than Geno Smith, right?
Yeah, he certainly is.
Then after that, it's like, right now I think Drake May's been more consistent than Jalen Hurts. I'll say Dak Prescott's playing better. I'll give credit to Dak. Jaden Daniels, no. Jackson Dart, no. Jordan Love, no. Jared Goff, no. Caleb Williams, no. The Vikings right now don't have quarterback play. All right, could you argue Baker Mayfield? I'd give you Baker Mayfield. So there's 5 quarterbacks there. But it's not inconceivable. Then after that, who? Panthers, no, with Bryce Young. Now he's hurt. Michael Penix, no. You look at the Saints with their quarterback situation. Spencer Rattler's fine. Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, no. Sam Darnold, no. Stafford, playing well. And he's in that 5 to 7 conversation. So could Cam be right that he's not a top 5 quarterback? I guess. But I could easily make the case that he's a top 5 quarterback. I at least went through the list there. Cam just says things and he doesn't really back it up with info. I remember when Cam laughed last year before the start of college football. No one wants to see Notre Dame. And then Notre Dame went to a national championship game. Cam gets views. Cam gets clicks. But I don't think his arguments are really well thought out. He's just paid there to react and give you kind of the hot take. All righty. We will keep it moving off that. Let's go to Kalen DeBoer, the Alabama coach, on not getting too high after the wins these days.
We got to make sure that we understand, how that we're going to be walking into an environment that will get on you in a hurry if you don't bring your best. And, the preparation, again, just the investment of time, the investment of your energy throughout the week, leading to a confidence and an excitement to go out there and make plays and to be our best. I still challenge the guys, and they believe it, that the world hasn't seen Bama's best yet. And, that's really what we're striving to do. And when you keep it just really as simple as possible on that, have great preparation, and everyone caring about what we're trying to accomplish, you have that edge. And so we got to stack another week of work, one day at a time, and be ready to go on Saturday.
I am fully bought in on Alabama. I bet them before the year to win the national championship at plus 900. I still have that ticket. Alabama is still my pick to win the national championship. I think A&M could definitely contend with them in the SEC. Georgia's still alive. Ohio State's an unbelievable football team this year. Indiana's playing some great football. I'm not going to count out Oregon yet. But you look at the Crimson Tide. I don't think they are going to lose a game for the rest of the season. Maybe they lose in the SEC championship game, but for the rest of the regular season, I don't think they're going to lose a game. And I do believe now, since you don't need to win your conference to get one of those bye spots, that Alabama will have a bye entering the college football playoff. Because when they beat Georgia, I remember saying this, it was expected because they beat them last year, right? Like, that didn't really move the needle for me. It's weird that I now use Vanderbilt as a measuring stick, but they lost to Vanderbilt last year. I wanted to see how they would respond up against Vanderbilt, and they forced Diego Pavia to have many turnovers. Then after that, you beat Missouri. Then after that, you beat Tennessee. Like, there were games that they could have dropped one, and they didn't. Now you play South Carolina. That should be a win. After that, LSU just scored 20 points, and you'll beat them. I'm not a big believer in Oklahoma. Eastern Illinois is Cupcake U. And Auburn, I get it's a rivalry game, but who trusts Hugh Freeze these days? So Alabama should be 11-1 going into the SEC championship game. And I am fully invested and bought in on what Kalen DeBoer is doing right now. Really good defense. Ty Simpson is playing some of the best ball in the country. And as long as their running back, Jam Miller, can stay healthy, I think that team could go the distance this year. And finally, Jets owner Woody Johnson. Do you still have confidence in Aaron Glenn? Listen up.
Well, it looks like he's turning around parts of it. You know, it's hard when you have a quarterback with, with a rating that we've got. You know, I mean, he has the ability, but something just is not jiving. But if you look at any head coach with a quarterback like that, you're going to see similar results if you go across the league. You have to play consistently with, at that position, and that's what we're going to try to do for the remainder of the season.
So what gives you hope then?
I just think defense, special teams are doing better. Defense is pretty good. If we can just complete a pass, it would look good. We got to complete some passes. You got to convince them that you can do something.
We have breaking news on the Zach Gelb Show.
Right as I played you that clip where Woody Johnson just absolutely destroyed Justin Fields, Adam Schefter just sent out a tweet a minute ago. The New York Jets are planning a quarterback change per Rich Cimini, with owner Woody Johnson weighing in Tuesday with criticism of the incumbent quarterback Justin Fields. You just heard that criticism. Now we know that the Jets are planning to change their quarterback, and they did bench Justin Fields last week. Isn't it funny, 2 games ago, Aaron Glenn was asked by a reporter, Brian Costello, about the quarterback change, and would Justin Fields be his guy? And Aaron Glenn put his foot in his mouth, because that's the only thing he could do well this year is put his foot in his mouth. And he basically laughed off the question and said, oh, that's the dumbest thing, and that's ridiculous to even ask. It's one bad, it hasn't been one bad game, but you get the point that Aaron Glenn was trying to make, and it was stupid. And that's why Aaron Glenn doesn't do himself any favors. Is the defense playing better? Sure, but that defense hasn't been good this year. And that offense has been absolutely horrible. Aaron Glenn's just not ready to be a head coach right now. And now they're going to Tyrod Taylor. So that's it. Like, could we just stop pretending that Justin Fields is going to be a successful quarterback? He's a backup. Maybe you could put him down in at the goal line and have him run the football a little bit. But this dude's just not a good quarterback. He's not a good quarterback in the NFL. So the Jets are planning on going to Tyrod Taylor, who they benched Justin Fields last week during the game. And I guess the next time we do see the New York Jets out there on the field, you are going to see Tyrod Taylor starting. And how about that quarterback matchup coming up on Sunday? Tyrod Taylor up against old man Joe Flacco, who looked pretty good on Thursday Night Football, up against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. So Bengals should win that one, you would think. But you never know. All right, Bengals the talk of the league last week. Then maybe the Jets end up finding a way to get their first victory, and you get Justin Fields out there, and that's the emotional lift that team did need. All righty, that's a news brief. It is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll come on back. We will get into what Hugh Freeze had to say about his job and the future there at Auburn. And also, the Baltimore Ravens are doing a few things that I don't think are going to work. but this is how they're trying to turn around their unfortunate season. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you could save at progressivecommercial.com. The NBA and Round Ball Rock is back. NBC is 2 games in its return as a television partner to the league, and they're both good ones tonight. The Thunder open their title defense against the Rockets, who will be a formidable challenge with the acquisition of Kevin Durant. And the Warriors and Lakers complete the doubleheader. LeBron James is out to start the season, but the Lakers will be led by a slimmed-down Luka Doncic. Steve Kerr is beginning his 12th season coaching Golden State, hoping for another title even at age 60. He said opening night is always special.
I know as a coach I get butterflies before every game, and just like I did as a player. And as soon as the butterflies leave, it's probably time for me to leave. So I'm excited. I can't wait. What a setting, opening night, Staples. It'll be fun.
The Angels have reportedly hired their new manager, set to name former catcher Kurt Suzuki to the post. J.J. McCarthy still unable to go for the Vikings, so Carson Wentz gets another week as the starter, while the Jets are reportedly changing starting quarterbacks as Justin Fields goes to the bench. Tyrod Taylor will take over. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life. The easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam, just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. I just saw this tweet from JPA Football, one of the aggregators. According to the Baltimore Sun, this stuff is so stupid when teams do this. The Ravens have removed distractions from their locker room, such as ping pong tables, video game consoles, basketball hoops, and cornhole boards. Baltimore is looking to lock in after what has been a sloppy start to the season. Stu, you're a video game guy.
I am, yes.
Do you think getting rid of the video games is all of a sudden going to make their defensive coordinator a good defensive coordinator?
I would say no.
Do you think getting rid of the cornhole board is all of a sudden going to get Lamar Jackson healthy?
I mean, how much cornhole could you possibly be playing instead of preparing for these games?
You know what? Derrick Henry is really not holding on to the football well. Let's take away all the ping pong tables, right? What are we doing? That's how down and out the Baltimore Ravens are. You got John Harbaugh taking away the ping pong tables, the video games, and the cornhole. Yeah, that's really going to make them turn their season around. So they have a bye week right now in week 7. And then we head to week 8. This weekend. They're just coming off the bye week. And then going into week 8, they play Chicago. Can I just go on a limb here? You know what could turn their season around? Playing the Bears and Miami. Now, that still doesn't guarantee anything, even if they get these next 2 victories. And the Bears are no easy opponent, let's be clear. The Bears have won, 3 games in a row. The Bears are playing better football. The Bears have won 4 in a row. They're playing better football. But I'm still not all bought. Like, are you bought in on the Bears right now, Stu? Like, even though they're sitting there at 4-2, I'm not all totally bought in on the Chicago Bears, if I'm just being fully honest.
Not really, especially when some of their wins are Saints and Raiders. Like, it's not like they've...
Cowboys.
Yeah.
And that defense
fine.
stinks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I'm not bought in.
And they almost lost that Raiders game, too, because they had
almost
that kick
did.
block, right,
yes,
on the field goal.
Almost did.
And they beat a Commanders team, right, where Jaden Daniels coughed up the ball. Okay, it's fine, but that Commanders team's just not that healthy, and they're not that good this year. So I'm taking a glance at the Ravens. We are already past the must-win territory. You just can't afford to lose anymore. Like, I've already said must-win for the Baltimore Ravens so many times this year. Now you got to go and win these next two, and then you take it from there. Because if they could get to 3-5, then you play Minnesota, Cleveland, the Jets, and the Bengals. No one's looking at you saying you definitely will win those games because you're 1-5 right now, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities where they can at least put lipstick on a pig and make them somewhat attractive or make their fans somewhat bought in as you go into the last month or two of the season once the calendar does hit into December. So the other day, we had a lot of ADs around the country coming out and give voices of support and messages of support to their head coach. The AD did it at Florida State with Mike Norvell. The AD at Wisconsin did so with Luke Fickell. So it was asked to Auburn's coach, Hugh Freeze, would you like a voice and a little message of support, a little voice of support to you as the head football coach of Auburn? And this is what he had to say.
What would a statement of support mean or not mean? Like, do you need that at all?
Well, that would be huge. You know, that'd make everyone feel a lot better for sure. Yeah, I haven't talked to John. I'm gonna say John has been so supportive ever since, obviously, my hire. I know how close we are. I know I can get this fixed, and we're too dang close. And we've got to get a little bit better play and a little bit better coaching at a few spots. And I want a chance to fix this. I think it's us. I think we fit Auburn. I think we fit the Auburn culture. I think the culture in the building has changed. I think the talent level has changed. And unfortunately, we just hadn't gotten over the hump in a very difficult stretch of games. But I believe that's coming very, very soon.
Let me just be clear here. Could you imagine if someone asked him, hey, do you want your AD to reiterate your job stat? And he said no. What is he like? Don't get me wrong. I don't believe in Hugh Freeze. I didn't believe in the hire, and I don't think it's going to work. And I think he should be fired at the end of this season. But this idea that now people are saying Hugh Freeze demands that he gets a support message from his AD. He was asked a question. Oh, what is he supposed to say? No, I don't want one. I want to get fired. Like, what are we doing? Oh boy. Didn't we play this yesterday where, it was Sean Payton took a shot at Russell Wilson, where it was talking about Jackson Dart, and I guess Sean Payton basically said, hey, I told someone that, I was kind of hoping we would avoid Jackson Dart. This is a real tweet. Oh, boy, this is juicy. Since Russell Wilson can't get on the field, I guess this is his Real Housewives of New Jersey type of moment. This tweet is actually legit. Oh my God. I thought I saw the screenshot. I go, maybe it's Photoshop. But nope, I'm on Russell Wilson's official Twitter page. It is real and it is spectacular. So Russell Wilson tweeted out, classless, ... but not surprised, ... Didn't realize you are still bounty hunting 15 years later through the media. Sunglasses emoji, laughing face emoji, hashtag let's ride, crying face emoji. Mr. Unlimited. Since you can't play on the field, now you're unlimited with all those Twitter characters. And oh my God, you're going after Sean Payton, who is in a good spot while you are the backup quarterback. Now, it was an unnecessary jab, and it was a petty jab by one Sean Payton. But Russell Wilson responded. When does he do the Jay Will and say, guys, I was hacked? Remember when Jay Will, he congratulated, who was it? What was it? He congratulated, Ime Udoka. I think it was for becoming the first black head coach in the history of the Boston Celtics. And he goes, no, I was hacked. And it was wrong information, obviously. But Russell Wilson tweets out, classless but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 years later through the media. Well, that's good. That's good. Oh, my. Russ, Real Housewives of New Jersey is having some problems right now. I don't know what's going on with Teresa Giudice. Maybe you get Sierra and Russ as a couple on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. That could happen, right? Samter, I would know this more than Samter, but I know that you are basically Tiki Barber's PR person from time to time. Wasn't Tiki on Real Housewives of New Jersey for like a year?
Yeah, he and his wife Tracy were.
Tracy, thank you.
Yep. They were guest appearances for a season.
And no offense to Tracy, but I think really why she got the invite, I would assume, because of Tiki, right? Like they promote off Tiki's name, image, and likeness, correct?
To a point, but Tracy has her hands all over the place with a variety of different charitable organizations, and
that wasn't a shot at Tiki's wife, to be
no,
clear. I see him every day.
But so I guess my point is that she has her own thing.
Sure.
It doesn't hurt that her husband is a former Giants legend, but she does so much stuff around in the business world that it was more that than I think him.
Gotcha. I think Russell Wilson. Imagine Sierra on that show. I don't think Sierra would do it, but I think Russ would do it. Russ should be on the new cast of Real Housewives of New Jersey. Oh, what a tweet. I would love to be going to a Denver Broncos press con. Hey, well, what do you make of Russell Wilson's comments there, Sean Payton? Well, that'd be a good one. All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. When we come on back, it is a Tuesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show, as they would say in Philadelphia, Tuesday. So when we come on back on a Tuesday, we will do a little overreaction, proper reaction back in 5 minutes.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond. He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, we'll get to overreaction, proper reaction in a second. We were just talking about this spicy Russell Wilson tweet. So Sean Payton basically said after the game, long story short, very happy. Actually, I was hoping that Russell Wilson was going to basically be on the field instead of Jackson Dart. And he was hoping he could avoid Jackson Dart and they could play the Giants earlier in the season because he was very high on Jackson Dart. So Russell Wilson responded to this, and he said, classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 years later through the media. Hashtag let's ride. Which quarterback benefits the most from this? Which quarterback benefits the most from this? It's a trick question. But if you get the answer, I think you'll laugh at it because there's some sarcasm on it. Want to take a guess here still?
Let's say Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston. Good guess. Not the answer I'm thinking of. Samter? I'm getting a blank dagger from Samter. I'm getting the stare. He's trying to look into my eyes. Which quarterback?
It's a trick question. So
which quarterback benefits from this tweet by Russell Wilson? You know, I'll even give you the Jeopardy music. Do 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 bum ba-dum bum 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 bum.
I want to think of like a former quarterback who's like a coach now or something.
Nope.
Are we going Jared Stidham, the backup quarterback for the Broncos? It's a trick question, so I'm not finding it. Is it Geno Smith?
Can I give you a hint?
No.
This may not be nice to word it this way.
Uh-oh.
This would be a very Maggie Gray type of topic. And what I mean by that, just trying to put this person in the conversation.
Josh Allen?
Nope. Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur.
Do you want to know why? What do we all hear about Shedeur Sanders? Backup quarterback can't be a distraction. Russell Wilson is a distraction right now. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's the first we've really heard of Russell Wilson. And he's calling out a coach who called him out. So I think that's okay. It's not his fault that Sean Payton threw shrapnel his way.
The backup quarterback can't be a distraction. But I remember the Maggie stuff is like with the Daily Dion and all that stuff. It's just throwing the Sanders into the conversation. So that's what I thought. I literally saw that tweet by Russell Wilson. Oh, boy. I responded to it, and I said, I thought the backup QB can't be a distraction. You did a very good Shedeur Sanders with the watch. And then it's an emoji with him with the watch that's on his wrist. I'm not wearing a watch today, so it's weird when I just put my fist up in the air like that.
Now, the Giants
looks like I'm basically saying bleep you.
It is. The Giants did make a big move, though.
Did they?
I don't know if you heard this.
Hold on. The Giants made a move, so this is sarcastic.
They made a big move. If you want to put blame
Can I get a hint?
Yeah.
What's the hint?
I mean, they lost last week for one reason and one reason only.
That doesn't give me. What's the hint, though?
They lost last week for one reason and one reason only.
Did Shane Bowen get fired?
Nope. They have released kicker Jude McAtinamini after missing 2 extra points on Sunday.
Who cares? Who cares about the kicker? All right, so they're bringing in a new kicker. Do we know who the kicker's going to be?
Well, so Graham Gano
is he back?
He's eligible to come off, but he may not be ready. They have Young Ho Koo on the practice squad.
Young Wei.
Young Wei Koo.
Idiot.
That's my Jack Stern moment.
Wait, can I tell you, when Young Wei Koo was in Atlanta and I was doing Ion football,
I even knew that.
Hold on. The stringer kept on saying the way Samter said it. And I said to the producer, you got to tell him it's Young Wei Koo.
You know what? I'm reading a tweet, and I'm just reading it, and I just like, oh, yeah. Young Wei Koo.
All right, it's fine. You got to pass.
It's not that much for pass. I knew that answer.
No, I give you a pass. Don't worry. Do we have to dump that? Nah, who cares at this point? Let's get to overreaction, proper reaction right now.
Another football week is complete, which means it's another week to freak out about your favorite team. Which takes are truly crazy.
But sometimes a game can be so bad, it's almost good. You know what I'm saying? No.
And which are so crazy, they might be right.
He's 6'5", he's 245 pounds. He's probably a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end.
Zach lets you know in this week's edition of Overreaction or Proper Reaction.
Already, I got an immediate response to my tweet with Shedeur, and he said, how was Russ a distraction? Payton took a shot at him. It was a joke, guys. I did the Superman emoji or the GIF with the joke flying over Superman's head. Anyway, Stu, what do we got for overreaction, proper reaction?
All right, so last year, Saquon exploded in his first year with the Eagles, nearly breaking the single-season rushing record while helping Philly win the Super Bowl. This year is a much different story with Saquon rushing for just 369 yards in 7 games, averaging 3.3 yards per carry, with just 1 game over 60 rushing yards. Overreaction or proper reaction, Saquon is closer to the back we're seeing this year than the one we saw last year.
Oh. So do I think that Saquon Barkley year in and year out is going to produce like he did last year? No. This year's pretty bad, though.
I mean, he's still on pace for about 1,000 yards.
Yeah, but he's 23rd right now in rushing yards, Saquon Barkley. So he's closer to the back we're seeing this year than the one we saw last year. I think when Saquon is healthy, that he's closer to a top 5 running back than what we're seeing this year. I've been very unimpressed by Saquon Barkley this season. And I forget who it was last night. Someone said that we need to start talking about Jahmyr Gibbs as the best running back in football. Oh, I think it was PFT from Pardon My Take. PFT commenter. I think the best running back in football right now is Jonathan Taylor. So Saquon is close to the back we're seeing this year than one we saw last year. I'm going to go overreaction, but I'll give you an overreaction, proper reaction question, Stu. Is Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in football?
Proper reaction. The season that he's had so far, I think you'd have to say that.
Okay, next one. What do we got?
All right. Ohio State is known as wide receiver U, and one former Buckeye is having a breakout season in the NFL. Seahawks star Jackson Smith-Njigba currently leads the league in receiving yards with 819 yards after his 10-catch, 123-yard performance last night. JSN is currently on pace for 1,989 yards in pursuit of becoming the first ever 2,000-yard receiver. Overreaction or proper reaction, JSN will reach 2,000 yards this year.
2,000? Now, with his injury history and just how tough that is, 2,000's a crazy number. And I get it, right? He already has 819, and we're only 7 games into the season. But I don't see him getting to 2,000 receiving yards. So I will go overreaction on that.
After the Eagles won the Super Bowl, franchise legend Brandon Graham retired in a teary-eyed speech. However, after Zadarius Smith announced his sudden retirement, the Eagles were in need of a pass rusher. So now Graham has agreed to a new deal to return to Philly. Overreaction or proper reaction, you are okay with Graham returning after retiring this offseason?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. He wants to play. They wanted him back. They have a need. So you end up saying, okay, we'll bring back BG. Did I just rhyme there unintentionally, I think?
Hey, Shep, chill out.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. No, don't be talking about me as a rapper. I'm not a rapper. Anyway, the question here is, you're okay with Graham returning after retiring this offseason? Yeah, that's a proper reaction.
The Ravens, they are 1-5 coming off of their bye week, and we're hoping that the extra week off would give Lamar time to recover. However, the two-time MVP is still not practicing, and his status for Monday against the Bears is up in the air. Overreaction or proper reaction, if the Ravens fall to 1-6, they should sit Lamar for the rest of the season.
I still think that's too early, but if you get past November or you get into December, then yeah. What's so funny there?
Wait. So you're saying into December is when you shut him down?
This guy's paid a lot of money to play football. Fans pay a lot of money to see these games. Just because they're 1-6, we're going to shut him down for the... if he's healthy, play him. If it's in December, different conversation. It's October right now.
But do you think fans want to see Lamar Jackson and a 1-7 Ravens? Or do they want to see them, get an early draft pick and then next year
Does
reset?
It really matter right now?
Well, if I'm a Ravens fan, I don't want to see my team, win or lose with Lamar. I just want to
get what you're saying.
Have to worry about it, and let's focus for next year. The season's done. They're not going anywhere this year.
But hold on. I get what you're saying. That leaders don't do that. 2 games at the end of the year, okay. Be half the season you're shutting this guy down for.
Well, here's the thing. He's a running quarterback who uses his legs,
and
he has a hamstring injury. I'm just saying, why take the chance?
I understand your thought process, but I'm a football guy. That's not what football guys do. You're a logic guy. I'm a football guy. You're a logic guy. I'm a football guy.
I don't know what football you've been watching the past decade, but that's what football guys do.
For half the season?
Guys skipping half of games and seasons and bowl games.
But you have to at least tell me there's an injury. Say
he's
that his
injured.
back
He's
hurts.
hurt.
I know, but it's got to be okay, he's out for the season. All right? You have to at least then put him on IR or something. You can't just be, Lamar doesn't want to play or we don't think it's right, so we're just going to shut him down. You got to at least make up an injury.
No, they're not going to say that, but they'll say, Lamar's injury is, week to week, and every week he just won't be ready. And then he'll have a setback. And then that setback's going to be, 3 more weeks. And then he'll have another setback. And then, we're just going to shut him down.
Now, he's sidelined with the hammy right now.
And when you have a hammy, that thing never goes away. You play in spite of the hammy injury. And if you're Lamar Jackson, why put yourself at that risk? We've seen so many guys with calf injuries have Achilles injuries in football and in basketball.
Would you play him this weekend? At 1-5, would you play him this weekend?
So here's the problem. They just came off a bye. He's still not practicing.
Yeah, he may not even play.
If he were to play on Monday night, it's a Monday night game against the Bears.
No, it's Sunday.
Oh, it's Sunday?
Sunday at 1. They then play Thursday night at Miami.
So especially that with a Sunday and then a short week to Thursday, I don't know. I mean, I guess give him one more week if he's ready. But if you have to force him out there and risk a really bad injury, I say no, no, no.
Let me ask you this question. Just going back to Stu's question on Jackson Smith and Jigba reaching 2,000 yards in a season. It'd be the first time it ever happened. Can you guys name the 5 receivers in NFL history that have the most receiving yards in a single season?
Well, number 1 is clearly Calvin Johnson.
That would be correct. 1,964.
Yes. Cooper Kupp, I believe, had 18 or 19 something.
Where do you think Cooper Kupp is?
third or fourth on the list?
He's second, 1,947.
Okay, so I knew that those two guys were right up there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Tyreek Hill has a
Seventh.
high. He's seventh. Okay.
Yeah, 1,799 in 2023.
Has to be a Moss season up there with the Brady.
I don't think Randy Moss
Nope.
ever did it. No.
Wow.
Oh man.
Randy Moss is not even in the top.
I think Jamar
10.
Chase last year, right? Wasn't Jamar Chase like 1860?
Nope.
Justin Jefferson is not up there, is he?
Justin Jefferson had 1,809 yards in 2022. That's 6. Come on.
Wow.
You haven't mentioned someone that's obvious.
Jerry Rice?
Yes, Jerry Rice was 4th, 1995, 1,848. There's a 3 and a 5 that you're missing.
Current or past players?
They are both out of the league. However, they have not been out of the league for that long.
How about Andre Johnson of the Texans?
No.
Okay. Oh, stupid. Antonio Brown.
Yes, 5th, 1,834. And then 3 with 1,871.
Let's think about this for a
I
half
don't
a
think you're going to
second.
get this guy. Great wide receiver, but I don't think you're going to get him.
Let me think for a half a second.
Half a second. What do you got?
Man. Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan
No,
Boldin.
hold on. You're on the right path with Larry Fitzgerald, as it's a guy that's a heck of a player, didn't really have a big ego, and was a wonderful wide receiver, and didn't play for a marquee franchise.
I was going to say Marvin Harrison, but no, he played for a marquee franchise.
Marvin Harrison, the Colts?
Yeah.
They're not a marquee franchise.
Well, while he was there, they were marquee.
Not really.
Yeah, man, you're going to have to help me out here.
You guys want
Doug
a hint?
Baldwin? We going Doug Baldwin?
No. Much better player than Doug Baldwin. You want a hint?
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away. Alabama. I don't think that will give it away.
Julio Jones.
Yep.
Julio Jones.
My hint was going to be had one of the great catches that didn't really matter because they didn't win the game in 28-3. Yeah, Julio Jones number 3 with 1,871 yards. CeeDee Lamb also in the top 10. Number 9.
You know another name that doesn't get a lot of run is AJ Green for the Bengals. I wonder where he's on that list. He had a few really big years.
Well, you have to pay money after 25, and he is not in the first 25. Demaryius Thomas, the late, great Demaryius Thomas, just honored this past weekend. He was in at 25.
Was 1426. I wasn't even close.
Yeah, 1,619. Randy Moss, by the way, Stu, in 2003 makes an appearance on this list. 1,632. Anywho, let's get back to overreaction, proper reaction.
All right, the Panthers, they have won 3 straight and 4 out of 5 after sneaking past the awful Jets, and they now sit at 4-3 and second in the NFC South. Chuba Hubbard started the game but had just 31 yards on 14 carries, while the red-hot Rico Dowdle, he added 79 yards on 17 carries and now has 468 yards over the past 2 weeks. Overreaction or proper reaction, the Panthers will make the playoffs.
Overreaction. They've had a nice run, but the playoffs? 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 You kidding me? Nah, they're not going to make the playoffs. No. All righty, next one.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame announced coaching finalists for 2026, including the GOAT, Bill Belichick, along with Super Bowl winners Mike Holmgren, George Seifert, Tom Coughlin, and Mike Shanahan, as well as Dan Reeves and Marty Schottenheimer. Overreaction or proper reaction, aside from Belichick, Shanahan is the best coach among these names.
Take that hoodie off.
Jordan Hudson, where you at? You know, what are we doing tonight for dinner? Can I go get some milk and cookies with Mike Lombardi? Well, Robert Kraft even said congratulations if I make the Hall of Fame. Our player, we missed the dud yesterday, by the way, and studs are duds. That player in UNC that fumbled the ball right at the goal line. That's just despicable. Bubba Cunningham, I'm committed to UNC. The question was, aside from Belichick, Shanahan is the best coach among these names? Mike Holmgren, George Seifert, Tom Coughlin, and Mike Shanahan, Dan Reeves, and Marty Schottenheimer. Would you agree, Samter, out of those coaches that you named, if you took Shanahan off the list, you would say Mike Holmgren and Tom Coughlin, right? Be the 2 best coaches out of that bunch?
Yes. but I'm not super high up on Tom Coughlin.
That's because you're a Tiki guy.
No, not that. It's the same reason why I'm not high on Eli Manning. They had 2 big playoff runs. Otherwise, they were a mediocre franchise.
He took the Jaguars to an AFC Championship game.
I think the Jaguars, honestly, is more impressive to what he did there.
He beat the Patriots twice in a Super Bowl.
Like I said, he had 2 good runs with the Giants. Otherwise, he was like a 500 coach. He didn't do that. He wasn't like a great winning coach with the Giants. For me, it's Shanahan, but I would say after that, it's Holmgren. George Seifert was great. He kind of gets overlooked because of that 49ers dynasty. Dan Reeves and Marty Schottenheimer are also 2 great coaches who just never did it in the playoffs.
I'm going to say it's actually Tom Coughlin. And just to give you, let's just look at the stats real quickly for Tom Coughlin here. So, with the Giants, he was 102-90. With the Jaguars, he was 68-60. I know his career is 170-150, but you take the Jaguars to an AFC Championship game, and you have 2 Super Bowl championships with the Giants, and those teams weren't insanely talented. And that's a reflection on the coach, and you beat the greatest dynasty in the history of the NFL 2 times. I'm going to say, aside from Belichick, Shannon is the best coach among these names. It's tough to go against Shanny. It really is. So if it wasn't Shanny, I would say that it's Tom Coughlin. But since Shanahan's on there, I'm going to say that it is Mike Shanahan. So that's a proper reaction. Sorry about that.
All right.
Let me take this hood off. I can't do the show with the hood on. I feel like I'm BT and Sal down the hall at the Fan. Whenever I see their videos, they have their hood up. It's very distracting to do the show that way. Anyway, what do we got, Stu?
So Florida, they fired Billy Napier over the weekend, so all eyes turned to Mike Norvell at Florida State after the Seminoles lost their 4th straight game. However, FSU AD Michael Alford released a statement today saying the school will not make a decision now and will wait till after the season to decide on Norvell's future. Overreaction or proper reaction, Florida State is a better job than Florida.
Would you rather be the coach of Florida or Florida State, Stu?
I think Florida.
Santa, you'd rather be the coach of Florida or Florida State?
Florida State.
Why?
ACC versus SEC.
That's my answer, too. Now, I think that people be like, you'd rather be the coach in the SEC, but I think it's easier to win at Florida State than it is at Florida. So Florida State is a better job than Florida. I'm going proper reaction, slightly.
Speaking of Florida State coaches, former Seminoles national championship winning coach Jimbo Fisher has been out of the game for a couple of years since his massive buyout at A&M. However, Fisher told the Birmingham Monday Morning Quarterback Club, quote, "I want to coach somewhere that's committed to winning," end of quote. Overreaction or proper reaction, Jimbo Fisher's next job will be with a Power 4 team.
I'm going to go overreaction there. I just don't think Jimbo Fisher really resonates moving into the year of 2026. I think he's going to have to go kind of the Dan Mullen route, where it's like a smaller school, kind of like a UNLV. But I don't think that you're going to be getting Jimbo Fisher for a Power 4 school. So when you ask me that, Jimbo Fisher's next job will be the Power 4 team, I'm going to say overreaction. Like Oregon State, for example. That's not a Power 4 school anymore. Then that, whatever the new Pac-12 is going to be, and the Tupac and all that stuff. But that's where Ed Orgeron's going to have to go. And he won a national championship too. So I don't think that you're going to see Jimbo Fisher with the Power 4 team. Maybe he coaches UNC next year. Keep on hiring all those old guys. Last one.
All right. Another coach on the hot seat is Wisconsin's Luke Fickell, who has disappointed in his 3+ years in Madison. After going 57-18 at Cincinnati, Fickell is just 15-18 for the Badgers, including a losing season last year and a 2-5 record this year. Now, despite his struggles, Wisconsin AD Chris McIntosh gave Fickell a vote of confidence, saying the key isn't changing coaches, but bringing in more money from NIL in this new era of college football. However, Fickell didn't seem overly confident by that statement.
Luke, have you been told you're going to be back next season, and is that a question you'd consider asking just so you can...
No, I don't think any of us have a crystal ball. I've never asked the question. It's not something that I can dwell upon. It's not something that I can't tell you that it's not something that you don't think about. It doesn't do us any good, right? It doesn't. It's not going to change the fact that we got to practice tomorrow. It's not going to change the fact of anything on Saturday. But I have not been told. I'm not worried about that. I mean, I understand. If we don't meet expectations and we don't do the things we need to do, anything can happen.
Overreaction or proper reaction? Wisconsin is making a mistake if they stick with Fickell.
That's a proper reaction. Do I think Luke Fickell's going to turn around at Wisconsin? Nope. So why continue to employ him as your head football coach? All righty, that is overreaction. Proper reaction is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GELB. That's code GELB, G-E-L-B. Bet $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Budo Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Must be present in state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets that are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass is subject to blackouts and other restrictions and all renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until November 16th, 2025.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. Steve Spurrier did talk to, I think it was On 3. It was USA Today Sports, excuse me. And Steve Spurrier was talking about who could potentially get the Florida job, and he was running through all those options. Sam, just do me a favor here real quickly. For some reason, I can't find the freaking link to this. It's been one of those days. Just do me a favor. Can you just give me the 3 names that Steve Spurrier did suggest for this job? I know I sent it right before the show, and I had it right here. And for some reason now that I can't find the damn thing. So anyway, we'll get those names up for a second. But I just thought the 3 names that he suggested were rather interesting. And I'm curious what we're going to give on these whole breakdown of the entire thing. Just let me know when you get the names there. For some reason, I can't find this name.
Well, he did mention Lane Kiffin and Eli Drinkwitz for sure. I don't see the third name quite
it was
yet.
John Gruden.
Oh, and John Gruden.
That's who it was. So he talked about John Gruden, Eli Drinkwitz, and Lane Kiffin. Can we just have a conversation about those 3 coaches? So I don't get John Gruden. Like, Stu, you know John Gruden better than anybody.
Yeah.
Ever since he won that Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Downhill, yeah.
He's been an overrated coach.
Very much so.
So could I see right with John Gruden's brand, the personality, let me tell you what, man, that spider threw white banana. Could I see maybe John Gruden being a successful college coach? Yes. If I'm Florida, and this is a crucial hire, am I putting my eggs in the basket of John Gruden? No, I'm not. Eli Drinkwitz makes a lot of sense. That's a guy that not only has done well in the SEC the last 2 years. Look at his success at Missouri the last 2 seasons. And it seems as if you can't win a national championship at Missouri, right? Or it's unlikely that you'll win a national championship at Missouri or even win the SEC. But that guy has coached his ass off for the last 2 years. I think he's deserving of a big job. And if I'm Penn State, I would rush and go hire Eli Drinkwitz. I would try to get that happen. Because I think Eli Drinkwitz has the personality where he could thrive in Happy Valley. With that being said, he may be a better fit in the swamp. He may be a better fit at Florida. And you look at the coaching career of Eli Drinkwitz, he's 11-2 and 10-3 in the last 2 seasons, and now he's off to a 6-1 start. And here's the thing with Florida fans, and I'll say this with Penn State fans too. I don't know what's going to make them happy in terms of these hires. Like, I have a lot of Florida fans that have reached out to me, or Penn's, I don't want Eli Drinkwitz. Huh? Why not? Why not? 11-2 in 2023, 10-3 in 2024, 6-1 to start 2025. You're telling me if you're a Florida, like Penn State, okay. If you don't think you win your national championship, there's nothing that I'm going to be able to do. But with that being said, if you are Florida, wouldn't you be dying for an 11-2 season? Wouldn't you be dying for a 10-3 season? And I get it, right? Lane Kiffin would be the great hire for Penn State. Lane Kiffin would be the great hire for Florida. But if I'm Lane, the Lane train ain't coming to Happy Valley when I'm at Ole Miss and things are going well right now. Now, if Lane is going to leave, I think it's for Florida. But you know what? I'm going to say Lane Kiffin's going to remain calm and patient. And Lane Kiffin's at a good job right now where no one's going to say fire him if he doesn't win a national championship. If I'm going to predict one spot where Lane would leave, if Lane's going to leave to go to one spot, Where do you think that spot is? And it could open this year. It probably won't open this year. So do you have a guess of where Lane Kiffin could next be going? Possibility for the ball coach at Ole Miss right now.
Alabama.
I don't think Alabama's going to open anytime soon.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I would say if Alabama said, Lane, we're interested in you, he would be dying to go there. Where do you think Lane Kiffin could be coaching next? If it's not Florida, if it's not Penn State, Samter? I think Samter's going to get this. If Samter puts on his thinking cap, Samter could get this one.
I think it's a school we talked about a little bit last hour. My guess, because he's a Florida guy, Florida State?
No, it is not Florida State. I think Lane Kiffin is perfect in the SEC. Lane Kiffin is not going to go to Auburn, right? They already tried to get him a few years ago.
That was the other name I was thinking about. Like, there's
hold
no way.
on. Ack's got a guess. Who could it potentially be, Ack?
Texas.
Good guess, but not the one that I'm looking for. And I don't think Sark is, I don't think Sark is in danger of getting fired yet. Next year's a huge year for Sark, but I don't think that's going to be the guy. LSU. If Brian Kelly with the Tiger family gets let go in the next year or two, wouldn't Lane Kiffin look at LSU just like how Brian Kelly looked at LSU coming over from Notre Dame? Like, I'm in a spot where it's more likely to win a national championship at Notre Dame than it is Ole Miss. But I'm in a spot where I don't feel as if I could win a national championship. There's been 3 coaches since the early 2000s, since 2000 to win a national championship at LSU with Nick Saban, with Ed Orgeron, go Tigers, and sandwich in between was Les Miles. I know that's been talked about before, but I think if Lane's going to leave Ole Miss, it would be more likely for LSU than it would be for Penn State or it would be for Florida right now. What do you make of that one, Samter?
That makes a lot of sense.
Right?
Especially with his love of Nick Saban, following that kind of LSU history there. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and the resources there are tremendous. They're tremendous resources right there. All righty. Let's take a timeout. Two-Tone Tony says in the YouTube chat, Zach is getting senile in his old age. How am I getting senile? Oh, because
you lost the link for
I lost, the whole Steve Spurrier stuff. Maybe that is an accurate comment. Only if you guys did the entire story. All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. We'll come on back. BG is back for the Philadelphia Eagles, and bad news keeps on coming from Aaron Glenn and the JTS Jets. Update time first. Here is the Ackman, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Progressive Commercial Insurance protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. It has been 4 months since the Oklahoma City Thunder won the championship, and tonight they get to raise the banner and get their rings. The NBA season opens with a pair of games, and first up will be the defending champs hosting the Rockets. Houston not only hoping to spoil the festivities, but has eyes on winning the West this year and are hoping the acquisition of Kevin Durant puts them over the top. Star sees good things ahead for this team.
I like where we are as a group. We work extremely hard every day as a team and as individuals. So I want to see that come to fruition on the court, and we get better as the season progresses.
The second part of the doubleheader features the Warriors and Lakers in LA. A slimmed-down Luka Doncic will play his first full season as a Laker, while the Warriors' aging trio of Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler are all healthy to start the season, hoping to challenge in the West as well. The Jets not challenging at 0-7, reportedly making a change at quarterback, benching Justin Fields for Tyrod Taylor, while the Vikings will turn the quarterback reins to Carson Wentz one more time. He gets the start this week with J.J. McCarthy still unable to go. I'm Rich Ecker.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie.
And this is Nick.
We're the Backstreet Boys, and you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God, we're back again. Brothers, sisters, everybody say. Gonna bring the flame, I'll show you how.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Just going around the room here because I have a question. When Brandon Graham retired, he was extremely emotional and he was crying. What do you make of it now that he comes back? Can you cry at your press conference that you're retiring less than a year ago and then come back in that short order? What is your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't love it, but at the same time, I get that at the time he was emotional and then he wants to come back. I don't kill him, but it is weird that like he thought he was done and now he's not.
Samter, I'm sensing a rant here. I don't know why.
It's not a rant because I love BG. He's a good dude. He's a team legend. So I don't want to like get on him per se because I like the dude. He's a good, I like him. I like his personality, but it's so. To go out the way he went out in that emotional goodbye.
I don't think he should come back.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you won a Super Bowl.
And you walked away and you're crying and the fans are sending you all these, sending you your flowers and all this beautiful thank you for everything you've done for us. It wasn't just like hey, I'm retiring and walking away. He was a guy who the city embraced and they said goodbye to in a way that was so emotional. For him to come back, it's just like, ugh. I don't know. It feels blech to me.
Here's what I'll say. I really do believe that Howie Roseman didn't want him back. I from what I have heard, Howie Roseman was done with Brandon Graham. Now, they could sit there and say today, hey, Howie Roseman wanted Brandon back before the start of the season. If that's how they want to spin it, and maybe there's some truth to it, that I don't know. But when that season ended, and you got to remember everything that transpired with what he said at Chickies and Pete's on the radio show and how that all did go down, I think that Howie said, okay, the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore with BG. Even though I think BG was right in what he did. And it may have been great doing it on a radio show and all that stuff, but he knew that Jalen Hurts needed to get on the same page with A.J. Brown. So you have that whole situation. And I think at the end of the season, Howie was like, I'm done. Even though we just won, it's a perfect send-off. You walk off into the sunset. You said it was your last year anyway. You win a Super Bowl. All right. You got back, you played, and it's over with. Now the fact that they need him, it's interesting how quickly they did revert on that. Or I just asked this question. Did Jeffrey Lurie maybe just say to Howie Roseman, you got to bring Brandon back? Like, he knows us. He wants to be here. Maybe Brandon hit up Jeffrey Lurie, said, I'm interested. There's no harm in doing this. But with that being said, if I was Brandon and he clearly still wanted to play, I know the ending is never perfect. And right, like look at Tom Brady. He came back. Everyone freaked out. Oh, he basically got divorced to continue playing football. And they were, 8-9 or whatever, and they lost to the Tampa. They lost to the Dallas Cowboys. Does anyone really care about the last year of Tom Brady's career? No. Is anyone going to care if this is it for Brandon Graham? No. But I guess there's no harm in coming back, but it ended, even though with injury, and then you came back and you played and you re-injured the triceps, I believe, or the biceps. You got that ring. You got that second ring. I just look at it and I say to myself, if I'm Brandon Graham, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be the way that you envision it. You got a second Super Bowl ring. You're a Super Bowl hero for what you did in the first Super Bowl. If I'm him, and this is the difficult part, right? You hang on to something for so long. You're addicted to it. You've done it for so long. I think you just got to know when to walk away. And you got the storybook ending, even though with the injuries doesn't feel like a storybook, but you won that Super Bowl to end your career. I'm good with that chapter. I'm good with my life. I'm good with my career. So I look at this now. It's October. You basically missed the first 2 months of the season. You didn't have to do training camp. Like, I get that he avoided a lot of that stuff. You could just play the games. But if I'm him, I would just say, yeah, I'm good. But clearly he couldn't do that. So now Brandon Graham's going to come on back for the Philadelphia Eagles. By the way, Aaron Glenn. Let me just get back to the Jets real quickly. So Kelvin Shepard last night with the Detroit Lions, that defense looked awesome, even though Tampa Bay, right, their offense is dealing with a ton of injuries right now. But now you have Woody Johnson popping off and sounded off about Justin Fields. And now you're going to bench Justin Fields and you're going to go to Tyrod Taylor. The losses just keep on piling on for Aaron Glenn. So, Santa, I'll ask you this question because you're the Jet fan here. The Lions defense is better without Aaron Glenn right now. The Jets are 0-7. Aaron Glenn has done a disastrous job. He's been an embarrassment on the field. He's been an embarrassment on the sidelines. He's been an embarrassment at the podium. I don't usually like one-and-dones. I don't. I think it's a rotten business. But you look at my football team, the Patriots, they got rid of Gerard Mayo after 1 year, and now they're 5-2, and they're one of the best teams in the AFC, and they have new life. I don't think Aaron Glenn's going to be the guy, but there is an emotional attachment for you. Just like how there was emotional attachment for me for Gerard Mayo. Gerard Mayo was a heck of a Patriot. Just like how Aaron Glenn was a heck of a Jet. Are you in the camp yet, Samter, where you say Aaron Glenn should be one and done?
No.
Why? Why do you feel like he can eventually get this thing right?
I mean, one, as a Jet fan, we're just so used to having bad coaches for so long that, you know, this isn't the worst we've had. I mean, we had Rich Kotite, so we're used to bad coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm just personally of the opinion that you just have to give a guy an opportunity to come in and change things the way he needs to. Like, the idea of guys getting fired after a year or 2 years, like, that just, I don't like it. I don't like it in general. So I would be against it to begin with. But yes, Aaron Glenn was like one of my favorite players growing up. I love his attitude. I love how he handles the media. I love what he did in Detroit. I love that mentality. It sucks that it's not translating into how the game is being played on the field, but I love everything about Aaron Glenn, so I want it to work. Right? Mm-hmm. With Saleh, I didn't care if it worked because I had no connection to him. I want it to work. Todd Bowles, I didn't care if it worked.
Do you think it will work? There's a difference. Like, I want a lot of things in life. There's some things I want in life that I know that aren't achievable or that are probably unlikely. Like, hey, I would love to own an NFL football team. I'd love to be a big booster of a college football program. Unless if I hit the lottery, those things ain't happening. So there's a difference in wanting something to work. Do you think Aaron Glenn will work?
Every week that goes by, I become less and less confident. Because just when you think the Jets couldn't go any farther down below rock bottom,
they go lower.
They find a new rock bottom. Like, they are such a mess.
Oh, you're buried in the ground all the way underneath? Oh, wait, we could actually dig 10 feet deeper.
And, like, you know, Woody Johnson blaming the quarterback, Justin Fields hasn't been good. They're not losing because of Justin Fields. They suck everywhere.
Well, he's a part of the reason why.
No, but they're not losing because of him. He's not the reason. They suck everywhere. They can't stop the run. Their defensive backfield is terrible. Their linebackers aren't what they used to be. Their offensive line is always hurt and sucks, even though they've drafted offensive linemen in the first round in like 5 of the last 6 drafts. Their running game isn't what it used to be.
They shouldn't. Here's the thing.
They're terrible everywhere.
Wait, but they shouldn't be 0-7. They have enough pieces on that roster where they should at least be able to have 2 wins right now.
I agree.
And that is a GM and a head coach that they're just not resonating right now. And I put that more in the coach because if you look at the roster, not this is a great roster, but it's a roster where they should at least have 2 or 3 wins at this point. It means the head coach has been that bad. Like, when I think of the Jets this year, who's the number one person I put blame on? You know what? You're all right. It's not Justin Fields. It's Aaron Glenn. And that's the thing. Aaron Glenn will probably be back next year. I don't think they're going to get rid of him after 1 season. I don't see there being any way right now that he is going to survive year number 2. This is at most a 2-year marriage. And that's why, if you're Woody Johnson, I think it would behoove you to just say, hey, we got this one wrong. All right, we got this one wrong. And we're going to bring in a new head football coach. And we're going to try to emulate what the Pats did. Now, they need a quarterback. Like, you got to stop with this nonsense. Like, go with Justin Fields and give him a 2-year deal and think this is going to work. Like, what are you doing? You got to get a quarterback. And yes, the Patriots having Drake May helps immensely. But Mike Vrabel totally changed that culture. And it's funny the similarities with Gerard Mayo and Aaron Glenn. What I saw with Gerard Mayo now happening basically with Aaron Glenn. At least Gerard Mayo was able to win the first game of the season up against the Bengals. The Jets, they're sitting here 7 weeks in and they're 0-7. All right, that will do it for the show today. Big thanks to Stu. Big thanks to Samter. Big thanks to Tom Hannifan for joining us. We will be back tomorrow on a Wednesday, right at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. We will have a guest to be announced from the Vanderbilt football team. So we are looking forward to that after their nice victory over the weekend and the way that they've turned around the program the last 2 years. We'll talk to you then, everybody. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.